After a week of racing at Daytona International Speedway, the Area Cup Series heads to NASCAR's home. This is Charlotte Motor Speedway, and this is round number 2 of the 2023 Area Cup Series from Charlotte. Welcome to Concord, North Carolina. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined as always by Finian Nakuna, Eric Wineland, and Hunter Sleppy. Finian, welcome back, welcome aboard. After a week of racing on the restrictor plate, the high banks of Daytona, now we head to this 1.5 mile intermediate oval for some classic NASCAR fun.
Yeah, this is where we get into the nitty-gritty of the season. I'm sure for a lot of the drivers, especially the ones that struggle at a Daytona, this is where they're going to feel like where their season actually begins. They can get some decent points in because there's that randomness of being taken out is pretty much gone, and now it's going to be arguably more skill-focused from here on out of the next few rounds.
Indeed it will, and it's our first 1.5 miles of the season, and really looking forward to how some of the changes in the off-season are made and how they'll translate onto the racetrack. I know before we went live, we had Jake and Tyler Nichols running 1-2 on the practice charts, and really a step up from a season ago for Tyler Nichols. Looking back at last season's race where Jake Nichols ended up getting the win, but it was Tyler Nichols who wrecked on a green-white checker not even 15 feet after the cross-start-finish line. But good to see that the 41 car of Tyler Nichols has speed, Kyle.
And Eric Wineland, welcome back to Charlotte. You'll be on pit lane most of the night, but before we kick things off, we're prepping for the second race of the season. Charlotte's a fast intermediate racetrack. It's got that quad oval kind of layout here, but the banking here, this is just almost as fast as Daytona in some sections, and we might not see bumper-to-bumper bump drafting like we saw last week, but we certainly will see people using the slipstream and ducking out of line to make moves late in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the high banks here at Charlotte are not perfect, but they are pretty, I'd say pretty solid. We got a little bit of bumps over here in 3 and 4 that we'll be watching throughout the night, but the setup wore loose for some drivers, wore tight for others last time we were here last season. So I expect more of the same. I don't think much has been made in terms of changes to the sim since the Area Cup Series last visited here in the next gen car at Charlotte. So I expect it to be more of the same, and that's why my pick is probably one that's going to bore everybody tonight.
Well, I can almost guess. I'm going to guess it's the guy at the top of the standings right now. You see drivers practicing in the multiple grooves and multiple lanes here. It's an 140-lap race tonight, Finian. You're going to see drivers experimenting a little bit with the lanes and the lines, but this is going to be an evening into night race, and that's going to make probably everyone bottom feed, I'd imagine, towards the end. The grip level will be there to sustain that middle to bottom groove as the fastest line, I'd bet.
You're going to be seeing these guys search for grip all night long as the track starts to cool down as we go into night. And as the lines start to rubber up as well, you're going to see more guys really gravitate towards one particular line and stick with it. I'm curious to see how much the multi-groove is going to come into effect here. He's looking Nate Trito, one of the newer drivers this season, breaking inside the top 10 in practice. Of course, practices, you can only go off of so much with practice times, but still a decent showing considering 40 cars here.
Indeed, and as you mentioned, first race of the season, missed Daytona last week, but now it's a full stable of machines for Solar Flare Racing. And looking at second, oh boy, I hope we don't see this again like we did all throughout Season 3. Ryan Hart's very fast, second quick, but that was a theme last year. Second quick to Jake Nichols and lost a couple of races to that 73 car. Wondering how the three of Hart's will be able to get it done tonight and finally get things on the right track and finish in front of that car right in front of them. Yeah,
Ryan noted as the one of the most courteous and respectful drivers here in area, finally decided late last season that he needed to get his elbows out and really take it to Jake Nichols. And if there's anyone out here that's really gonna light a fire under Jake Nichols and push him, it's gonna be Ryan Hartz, I think. Some returners here too that might make this interesting. Connor O'Kresick, Tyler Nichols, and Chris Rabel up here at the top 5 in practice. But Ryan Hartz, he's the one that I think can challenge tonight, and it'll be going to be interesting to see what he can do.
Other new drivers that we saw join us for the first time last week at Daytona here in the Area Cup Series. Connor Horn, this time in the number 42 car. See him on track right now, and he's a driver that we kind of knew was going to be good. And last week was working with teammate Jeremy Miller in the Daytona race. Didn't quite pan out the way that they were expecting, Finian, but P12 for Connor, P10 10 for Jeremy Miller, so they're certainly going to be contenders tonight. We've seen drivers that run consistently at the front really not practice or qualify all that well, so I'll bet that the race pace of these two in particular will get pretty good.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the great thing to see. Once we get into qualifying, then into the race itself, really start to see where the field shuffles out. Of course, again, we're just really going off their fastest lap time, but obviously the key thing is being not just quick on a single lap, but quick over 10, 20, 30 laps on a run.
As we see the leaderboard change, Brandon Six just went up to 4th, but looking at the solar flare cars of the Nichols brothers, Jake and Tyler Nichols sitting 1st and 5th, also won't count out Solid Rock Performance. We did mention Brian Hart since the new team he's on. Connor Okresic and Ricky Springer just went up to 6th on the chart. They also have some pretty good speed as well, so I wouldn't count out Solid Rock Performance either, especially with how good Okresic was in the little starts he had in area last season. Can only imagine what he'll do with a full season and what the 51 of Springer can do, topping off from Season 3 where he had a run at the championship.
Good look at Ricky Springer there in the virtual reality setup, Finian, and we've talked at length about drivers that prefer virtual reality versus those that prefer triple screens, but I think in close quarters racing, it certainly doesn't hurt to have your environment simulated in 3D around you, give you a little bit of a better sense of how much space you can take or how much space you need to give.
Yeah, and especially also just helps you just be a lot more focused. You don't really have anything else in your outside environment distracting you because you're only purely looking at the car and the other cars around you. But good to see Ricky Springer pretty much continuing on form where we saw him last year. Remember, last season, he was pretty much a non-factor up until the chase started, and then really started putting some solid top 5s and get some wins. So he got 3 wins, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, last season. So we'll see if he can continue that form. Currently 6th on the timing sheets. See if he can execute in qualifying. We'll see who's going to be able to execute in qualifying coming up here in a few seconds.
Yeah, qualifying definitely going to set the tone here. We're looking at Dom DeLeo was also in the top 10 in practice, but looking back at Charlotte as a whole, one of his drivers, well, now looking at the difference.
Is that a pre-race ritual?
That's Ricky Springer having a good time there. The tail end of practice. Go ahead, Eric.
Have we shown Michael Curran on the broadcast yet?
Don't think so. I think I saw him for a moment, but have not.
Okay, this is, if we can get this in sim camera, I think it's a little related. It's just a touch cut off, but that sign there says Ricky Springer is stronger than me. I don't know how I feel about that because Ricky Springer was very good, like we said, on the super speedways in area.
Does he mean stronger in the race car? Or does he mean stronger like in a one-on-one?
In a physical, I don't know. Maybe they both need to flash the guns on the broadcast for us, but I don't know if we can make that happen somewhere along the way later down the road. But it'll be interesting to see. Michael Curran obviously made the championship 4 last year here in the Area Cup Series. See if he can put a run together because it was a magical run for Michael at the end of last season, Kyle, to get to that championship race. And unfortunately, it didn't pan out. Jake Nichols just too good, but if Michael can get it started really well, I think he can be a real threat again this year.
On track now, there's Jeremy Miller, the number 30. Remember, only 1 lap here in qualifying to set your best time, Finian. Urgency to get it right, lap 1.
Yeah, and then the big thing, too, is not only that, getting it right on lap 1, but not making sure you don't make a mistake, because if you make a mistake, that's it, you're done. You're going to be starting in the back. For Jeremy Miller, doesn't make a mistake, at least from what we've seen. And across the line, going to start the first time to beat. It's going to be a 30.358.
Only time to beat for a moment, though, Hunter, as Garrett Grant in the number 5 jumps to the top in his number 5 Toyota Camry. Robertson 3rd, Ryan Swan 4th.
Garrett Grant had a potential opportunity of winning at Charlotte in the past, back in season 1, but then a late race caution came out with 10 to go, and that set up Chris Sinifine to get the win with a strategy on tires. And Eric, you were a part of that strategy as well, placing in the podium. Although different car with the Gen 6, going to be interesting as to how Chris will do in the next gen.
Yeah, Gen 6 was a complete different beast season 1. Plus, we were still getting our feet here at Area, and a few of us had some great times with fuel mileage, while some others did not. Michael Curran, big slide right there through 3 and 4. We'll get a replay here from Sim Wrap Market.
Yeah, just gets down here into turns 3 and 4, right against that blue line, and it just starts to step around on him. You see him turn the wheel to the right to catch it, and he does, but it's going to be a pretty slow time, a handful of tenths off of the provisional pole sitter, which is now Greg Mitchell, who trips the timing and scoring at a 30.125, Finian, and Dom DeLeo with a strong time as well, up in the 30.1s.
It's all time for him. Travis Beckner came across the line, very poor time. I think he's also struggled. He also did the same thing in 3 and 4, hit the blue line and then got a little bit loose. So Travis Beckner is going to be in the back. I was watching Dean Thompson. He did the same thing, hitting the blue line in 3 and 4. So a lot of guys flirting with the limits, and unfortunately some of them getting bit and dropping to the back of the order.
And as you mentioned it, Mitchell on pole, DeLeo's second. Physique is flirting with the front row opportunity. Still have good bit of time on the board, less than 7 minutes remaining. We round on board with Nate Trito, who's looking to put down a fast time for Fazekas, or not Fazekas, excuse me, Solar Flare.
I was going to say, this guy, this is a returner that can really challenge Jake Nichols tonight. Hey, Trito, he missed last week. He missed the Daytona race because he was in Nashville racing his legend car in real life. You know, real life racing obligations, much more of a priority than racing here in the Area Cup Series. So good for Nate. I don't know how he finished. I didn't get the chance to talk to him about it, but hopefully he did pretty well. He's looking pretty well on this qualifying lap here toward the line off of 3 and 4. Nice and tidy. Kyle, he's going to slot himself pretty far up there.
Let's see, 30.110. That is pole for Nate Trito.
Wow.
The number 9 goes to the top by 31 thousandths of a second. Let's see what Cameron Hearn can do. He's on a flyer right now. So is Jordan Martin, who's a little bit farther along his lap. So we'll right on board the number 11 as he comes out of turn 4, Finian.
See what he's able to muster here. And the big thing, Cameron Hearn slow on the back straightaway. I think hit the wall off of turn 2. So his lap's going to be done.
And he just got washed up there in turn 2, and that's all she wrote for that time. And that's one of the consequences of having only one lap here for area. You mess up, that's it. And then you're starting in the back. And sometimes on these opening starts or restarts, we don't like, but we see issues happen towards the back, and then guys like, say, Cameron Hearn, hopefully it doesn't happen to guys who mess up in qualifying get caught up in that mess.
You know, that's something that...
I was looking for that as we come across the line. You can tell what the last broadcast we did is, by the way. Or go ahead.
Something that we don't talk about very much is the guys that don't qualify are ordered by their oval iRating. So Cameron Hearn, a 55-20 oval iRating, should still slot himself in pretty good. We never talk about the strike of the field in the Area Cup Series either, guys. I mean, all 40 some odd that come out or that are registered, obviously put their time in on the oval official side of things. The strength of field tonight, 41.04 is the average iRating of every single driver out here tonight.
Pretty good average around the field. Here's Dwayne Culberson, who's going to try to get himself up on that timing and scoring screen. Over half the field has not yet put down a time, Finian, and is that perhaps surprising to you? You think drivers are waiting for the track to cool maybe a couple more degrees before they go out there, or do you think some are going to start from the tail for whatever reason?
No, I definitely don't think any of the guys are going to start from the tail, especially a lot of the big-name drivers have yet to put a qualifying time down. Looking at Dwayne Culberson now, he completed his lap. He's going to be pretty much midfield at the moment, 8th on the timing sheets, but I think we're just seeing everyone kind of just wait till the end of the session. Like you mentioned, I think they're just waiting for the track to cool down a little bit because every little bit helps. Tyler Nichols jumping to the top of the time, near the top of the timing sheets in 4th place.
Here comes Brandon Six and the number 66 Hunter as he comes out of turn 4 to start his flying lap. And again, riding on board here with drivers and qualifying. Last week at Daytona, we saw some interesting strategies. This week, though, you're going to get right to that bottom, but you can't just hold it flat here. We're seeing a lot of off-throttle time around here to get these cars pinned to that blue line on the bottom.
No, this isn't the 550 horsepower package. This is the 670 all-around horsepower package. So you do have to lift a little bit, maybe touch the brake pad or two, but yeah, it's not as wide open as the guys would like it to be. But see what the 66 of 6 can do. Had a pretty good time in practice, and he's going to come across the stripe.
Yeah, he went 9th. Man. Springer, though, P3 in the number 51. Strong effort by him.
Yeah, that 51, he's going to prove me wrong tonight. Yeah, I said he was a super speedway guy, but maybe he's actually going to show up here on the mile and a half and really lay it down here in his VR setup. Meanwhile, our defending series champion and defending winner here at Charlotte, Jake Nichols, coming onto the track for a fast time.
They'll set up out of turn 4 to come across the stripe. In the Solar Flare Racing 73, this time a Chevrolet Camaro, bow tie on the nose instead of the Toyota symbol that was on him for 2 consecutive championships here in the Area Cup Series. Now off of turn number 2 and heading down the back straightaway.
Whoa.
A little bit loose there, Finian. You saw him wobble.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was a little bit loose. I saw James Scioli coming off of turn 4. He was a little bit loose, and everyone's just pushing really hard here, trying to get as much time. We want to be careful. Don't want to bleed off time by getting too sideways. I see Nichols coming a little bit shaky out of turn 4. We're going to keep it down, planted in that 73 Camaro. Is it up for pole, though? Another pole for his collection? It is not a poor time. Very poor time down in 18th.
Well, that little wiggle there cost him a good bit of time. So we see the 45 of Chris Seinfeld in the Area iRacing Shop paint scheme.
That is a great looking car. Here it comes across the stripe. Is it best looking on the top of the board? No, it's going to be P19 for Seidenfeld right behind Jake Nichols. And then other cars on track right now. Frankie Barroso jumps up to 16th place. Ben Pierce is on track. He just comes across the stripe there, and he will jump up to 31st. Rafe Slate to 8th as this barrage of late runners here in qualifying get themselves up on the board here late, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, and here's another big name to watch out for. Ryan Hartz. He just saw his competitor get bogged down in 20th at the moment. This could be a great chance for him to get a leg up early in the championship from that number 3 machine. Whoa, he has a bubble, hits the wall,
no.
and never mind
No.
that. He's going to be starting from the back.
Well, that is a bummer for Ryan Hartz. Damaged car comes across the stripe. He will start from the tail of the field in this one. David Elliott, Cameron Hearn. It looks like Hearn has already started his lap, and we saw him get in the wall, so he will not complete one either. And it looks like everyone else, that would be Cedric Hunter, Chris Rabel, and Skylar Shackelford. They will not take times here in qualifying.
Ignore the Wineland on the timing table there. Ignore that. You don't see that. We had a registration blunder tonight from yours truly. So, yeah, the 102 car is not actually hitting the track, especially since there's no 102 painted on this car.
Well, race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel for only $5 a month. You can watch all Area broadcasts commercial-free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat and earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. And our starting grid sponsor for the season, as with last year, is Roasted Gems Coffee. Race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems Coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code Area iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. A 40-car starting lineup to get through here in just a moment here, Finian. But before we kick things off, though, 140 laps, expectations and favorites for tonight's race, Finian. Obviously, Eric Wineland's already got his coins in the 73 bucket. Are yours in the same?
I don't know. Here's the interesting thing. These drivers, I'm sure they probably hate the fact they only have one lap for qualifying, but I think it makes it very interesting for everyone, for us in the booth and everyone watching at home, because the entire order is very shuffled up. We saw Ryan Hartz make a mistake. He's starting near the back. Jake Nichols starting 21st. Cameron Hearn starting near the back. I'm trying to look at some of the names. Travis Beckner also starting near the back. Michael Curran also starting near the back. So a lot of quick guys in the back of the field. There's also some guys that might also just manage to get a really solid lap in general. I'm trying to look here at the thing. You know, I'm liking the 14 of Connor O'Krezek. He looked pretty quick in practice. He put a pretty quick time down in qualifying. I think he's a bit hungry after last season, especially after what happened at Auto Club. I think he might have what it takes to be in victory lane by the time night's over.
Hunter, who you got winning this thing?
Oh, speaking of hungry, I got chocolate chip cookies waiting after me, so thanks, Finian. But I also like the Solid Rock guys. You mentioned O'Kresick. I like the 51 of Ricky Springer. I think he's going to have what it takes to get the job done. Won at Las Vegas a season ago. I think that 51 car is going to carry speed into tonight, and he had a pretty good qualifying time as well.
Well, and Eric Wineland, before we send you off down to pit lane for the rest of the night, one more time, we'll let you revise your answer. An 18th place starting run for the 73. Is that actually 21st place now? Is that good enough for him to win as you expected?
Well, you know, Kyle, Discord has this cool thing where you can do activities with each other in voice channels, and I was playing poker with Jake Nichols and some of his buddies a couple nights ago, and you know what? I'm still going to push all in on Jake Nichols, even with a poor starting spot right there in 21st. I expect him to, he's so methodical and smart. He'll find his way through the field. He'll be at the front before too long. I don't expect it in the first 10 or 15 laps, but that 73 will make his way to the front by, I'd say, the halfway point of the race. I'll pick him, but if you want a dark horse pick, just so I'm a little different and not picking Jake Nichols all the time, I want to see what the 8 of Rafe Slate can do. So I'm on the Solid Rock train with you guys. So I think Rafe Slate can, if he keeps his head on and has a smart race, he can be up at the front at the end of this thing.
Well, let's run through our starting lineup here. The Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. Here we go. Row number 1, kicking things off. It's going to be Nate Trito in the number 9. A strong pole position for him. Greg Mitchell will start on the front row, Finian.
Yeah, right behind them, it's going to be my pick, Connor Kresik on the inside in the 14 car. Next to him, Ricky Springer in the 51, starting in 4th place.
And in 5th place, row 3, it's Dom DeLeo in the number 22 Ford Mustang. Tyler Nichols starts a handful of positions behind that front row. He will start 6th in the 41.
Row number 4 is going to be Jordan D. Martin on the inside lane in the 11 car. Next to him, Brandon Bowie's going to be lined up in the 23 and 8th place.
9th place, row 5, Rafe Slate, Eric Wineland's dark horse pick. Nick Silver starts 10th. Quiet qualifying for that 46, but in position to move up the order.
Back in row number 6, it's going to be Brandon 6 in the 66 and 11th place. Bryce Senesek's lined up in the 09 in 12th place next to him.
13th place, Douglas Newbegin in the number 71, and behind him, Dwayne Culberson, 14th in the number 81 Solar Flare Camaro.
Back in behind them is going to be James Scioli lined up in the 7 car in 15th, sharing the row with Garrett Grant in the number 5 and 16th.
And behind them in 17th place, it's Jacob Bell. He was so close to winning the Area 500 last week. Came up a couple feet short. Frankie Barroso starts 18th in the number 12.
Connor Horton's going to be rolling off 19th in the 42. Next to him, Jonathan Cogswell at 27 in 20th place.
21st place, Jake Nichols, reigning champion. 21st alongside Chris Seidenfeld, 22nd in the 45 car.
Jeremy Miller's going to line up in the 30 car in 23rd. Next to him, Ed Robertson in the 64 and 24th.
25th place, JT Poole in the number 26. Seth Knoll, last week's Area 500 winner, starts 26th in the number 1.
Back in 27 is going to be Michael Sturgill in the 17 car. Next to him, Dean Thompson in the 70 and 28th.
29th place, Ryan Swan in the 67. Cosmo Yondashiwu in the 84. Up front a lot last week, starts 30th this week.
Back in behind them, Delonte Ballard in the 21 and 31st. Ben Pierce in 65 and 32nd.
33rd place, Darren Mullins in the number 38 Camaro. Michael Curran, 34th in the number 24.
Back in 35th, Travis Beckner in the 28. Ryan Hart's next to him in the 36th in the 3 car.
37th is Cameron Hearn in the number 4. 38th, Skylar Shackelford in the number 88. Finian, last couple rows, Chris Rabel, Cedric Hunter, David Elliott. Wraps up the rest of your field. Round number 2 of the 2023 Area Cup Series, this time from Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's time to bring the action once more. Light the tires, light the fires and spin the tires, whatever that statement is. Here we go, green flag racing here at Charlotte. A little bit of a stack up there in the background as they head towards turn number 1. The thunder is roaring again at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Lap 1 complete. Trito leads the way. Okrezik into second. Ricky Springer in third. And here comes DeLeo on the high side into turn 1, Finian.
Yeah, already kicking it off near the top. Dominic Leary trying to run that top lane, fighting side by side, almost making contact with the 51, trying to get that run off the corner. See if he can try to clear him, but that 51's not giving up.
We got loose there off turn 2, and Jordan Martin, they're riding the coattails of Springer as they are side by side right behind him. Slate and Mitchell in the 2, door to door as well, with 6 and Nichols behind as well. A lot of side-by-side action early on.
Yeah, and we see this typically at Charlotte. The first couple laps are always pretty frantic here as drivers have fresh tires and they feel very grippy. Wow, one car almost pancaked the fence. Was that Rafe Slate? The 22 is very close to it as well. And the 46 of Nick Silver dropping backwards. He's on the bottom of 3 wide here with the 30 of Miller in the middle.
Yeah, the pack's still really close together around the midfield, almost like they're pacing. A little bit more drivers stuck on that inside lane. We were talking about that early on. How a lot of guys are going to be gunning for that inside lane early on. Shortest way around, but you can make some really decent runs on the top lane if you time the run right.
Riding on board with Garrett Grant. He's navigating his way through the mid portion. A lot of blocking there.
That got dicey, I'll say. 81 goes high. And just a lot of stacking up, a lot of big runs coming here. But Daytona might have been good practice for this Finian, slicing and dicing here early at Charlotte. Certainly no one's holding back.
No one's really holding back at this point. gun's starting to come out a little bit early on. Again, we still got 140 laps, so some might argue it's a bit early to be blocking. Don't want to make some enemies too early on in this race, because if you're coming back on them later in the race, might throw you a block on them, and things might not end so well for both drivers. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. Up ahead, Rafe Slate, you see him battling side by side with Brandon Six, stuck on that outside lane with the first 5 rows all single file.
Oh, yellow.
Oh,
Trouble out of turn 4, and it's
Big
Greg
wreck.
Mitchell, and the 21's in it as well. Delonte Ballard and Skylar Shackelford tangled up in this one. Ooh, almost more contact as they get away. So first caution, lap number 6. They came out of turn number 4. There's Mitchell in the 2, and he's got some fairly heavy damage by the looks of it. Let's go back and see what we can see.
Oh, so this is actually 2 separate incidents. This is the main start of it, the 2, of Greg Mitchell getting spun around. And then a second incident, I think, with Delonte Ballard getting slowed down. I'm not sure who hit him.
That was the 88 of Shackelford, but here's Mitchell again up the road, and he just gets turned. Let's go back a little bit further and see how this happens. There's a 7 of Scioli behind him, and the 2 pushes up the racetrack, comes back down, and Scioli just can't get out of the throttle quick enough. Connor Horn dodges to the right, and then as you mentioned, Finian, behind them in the checkup, a couple cars bouncing off the wall. The 21 and 88 get hooked together. All things considered, fairly straightforward accident there, but some damage to a couple of good cars early.
Yeah, by the way the timing screen was acting up, I thought there were a lot more cars involved in that, but actually only really 2 cars getting damaged, and they weren't even the main cause of that. So Greg Mitchell is going to get off with no damage. Of course, a significant loss of track position after starting in second, so he's got a long ways to go for the rest of this night.
good bit of drivers down pit road as well. Is it too early to pit for tires, guys? I mean, we haven't even crossed 10 laps yet. It looks like some of these guys are taking 2, 4, and still.
Yeah, we only have a handful of them down there. It's Mitchell, Ballard, Hunter, Hearn, and Shackelford. So most of those cars, I think, were involved in the accident.
Yeah, most of the cars were either involved in an accident or I think pretty much outside the top 30. So I think they're just coming in, might as well, if you're that far back down the order, might as well get some fuel and get some tires. Can't hurt at this point in the race.
So as we get set for the restart here in just a moment, Nate Trito off to a pretty strong start in the number 9. I was just realizing that I was on direct sound versus X audio.
Oh. How dare you?
That just sounds a little bit better. Nate Trito leads the way. He has led all 6 laps so far. Off to a pretty strong start. It was racy behind, though, guys. 140 laps. This is not a particularly short race, but it seems like everyone's kind of got their elbows out early here, but track position has been a little tricky to get.
Yeah, it seems so. It seems like, again, a lot of these guys are bottom feeding early on. That top lane you can make work, I think, if the bottom lane's clogged up and everyone's nose to tail. I think later on in the run, once the tires start to wear out and guys are struggling for grip, I think we're going to see that outside lane become more effective. But I think immediately after restarts and when these guys have fresh tires in that bottom lane is definitely the place you're going to want to be.
Unless your name's Jake Nichols. He's already up to 13th early on. He's somehow making his way through the field, and not sure how with what we've seen, a lot of side-by-side action. I'm wondering if he's bobbing and weaving through the field, like just running middle, top, bottom, any 3 wide scenarios. Not sure, but 73 is making something work early on.
Certainly looks the part so far, as we're going to go around another lap here before we get the restart. The replays are brought to you by SimWrap Market. Race fans, be sure to visit simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack. And a lot of examples of SimWrap Market liveries here in the field, and they certainly do look awesome. Here's a look at Ryan Hart's. Curhan a little bit deeper here in the field. And as far as Curhan's night goes, he says that Ricky Springer is stronger than him. Ricky's P3, Curhan's P27. So far, that seems to be true.
Yeah, definitely seems to be true at the moment. We'll see if it gets turned around. But Eric Wendland's back with us from pit lane. Eric, got a report?
Yeah, just stopped in and checked in on Solar Flare Racing after Delonte Ballard involved in that incident. Not too happy with the ARCA braking that he felt was going on at the back part of the field, but one of the nice things about the Cup car, guys, is it has the new damage model here on iRacing. These things just look and race like tanks. So looking at Delonte's car from the pits, I mean, I don't really see any damage in the pictures you guys provided as well here on SimTV. I don't see any issues with the car. And they were talking damage in the team channel as well, checking on a couple of them that were potentially involved in the incident, but no damage to report for those guys. And everybody obviously did not come down for tires except for Cedric and Delant because they cooked them in that wreck. So expect him to be back on the pace as best as he can. But yeah, that new damage model really helping these guys out with a lot of beating and banging.
Yeah, and even Greg Mitchell's car looks pretty good, all things considered. Big fall for him from second where he started all the way down to 40th place. So he's got some work to do to earn some of those positions back. He will restart dead last as the field re-racks and restacks and gets restarted here shortly. Working lap number 10 of 140. And Ricky Springer will line up behind the Solar Flare Racing number 9 Chevrolet. It is all Camaros in the front 2 rows. Then it's Mustang Camaro in row number 3, 2 more Camaros in row number 4, 2 more Camaros in row number 5. The first Toyota is way back in 16th place. It's Brandon Bowie. Time to go racing once more here at Charlotte, back underway. Those are the sounds I'm used to. Sounded a little underwhelming the first couple laps, but Trito leads the way. Springer takes over second place from Okresic, and it's game on behind him. The 77's on the high side. I think, is that Scioli? Yes, it is, and Tyler Nichols in the 41, Finney.
Yeah, they're starting to duke it out now on the bottom lane. Connor Okresic just did not get a good restart at all. So drop back to third immediately in behind them now. The 22 and the 66 battling side by side, looking at Connor Horn. Trying to carve his way up through the order, is going to try to get around the 7 of Scioli, now going to be side by side with the 41 of Delonte Ballard.
41, Tyler Nichols holding his own down on the bottom. Got Jacob Bell right in front of him. Solid run for Jacob last week in the Area 500. If it weren't for that yellow, he might have had a shot at winning that. He came oh so close. But another solid run for the 77 early on, and Connor Horn as well. He also had a really good Area 500.
Got his tongue hanging out. He is going for it right now. And moving up, actually. Started 19th up to it. He had his tongue out in turn 2, and I saw it. He's working hard behind the wheel, trying to move his way forward. It's getting very close. Douglas Newbegin in the 8th place, the 71 car. And Dom DeLeo on the outside of Rafe Slate. So there are positions to be had. And Springer wants the lead to the high side. Here he comes.
I didn't realize he was that close to challenging, and it went high off turns 1 and 2. He's going to get a great run down his back straight. You can see him closing in. Does he go for the inside lane? He kind of has to. With the run he has, he'll make the dive in turn 3, and they're side by side for the lead.
Woof. That was tight racing there, Hunter.
Have a little bobble.
Oh, he's in the wall. The
Trito from Springer.
Trito pancaked the wall out of turn 4. He got a piece of it for sure. Ricky Springer didn't panic, didn't get away from him, but the 9 definitely caught the wall out of 4 Hunter, and that could have been a lot worse than it was.
It definitely could have, especially this early on in the race. The 2 leaders, that would have been big if they made contact, but nonetheless, he kept his foot in it. Still holding the lead for the meantime, but Connor Okresic going to give a little momentum to the 51 of Springer. And down in the 3 and 4, but the outside line, too strong. Trito going to retake the lead.
I love watching the head turn to the right as he's looking out the window, trying to get past the number 9. Behind them, here comes the 66 of Brandon Six. And look at the run the 11 of Martin has to the outside, Finney, and taking that momentum and sticking it to the upper groove.
Yeah, almost looked like he wasn't initially planning on moving to the outside. Lost a good amount of speed off of turn 2 compared to the 14 game. Didn't get the run off. Got a bump from the 22 of DeLeo now heading off into turn 3. DeLeo's been trying to make some moves, carve his way forward. Hasn't quite gotten there just yet. He's still side by side with Ray Slate. I'm just genuinely amazed that even though Trito hit the wall, he's still able to make a pass on the 51 of Springer. So I'm curious if Springer is planning on taking something up here to challenge that 9 again.
Dangerous thing indeed, as Jordan Martin's still looking for third. Check back in with, that's a 73 of Jake Nichols, and he's quietly worked his way to just a spot shy of the top 10. James Scioli riding on board with him. A lucky duck number 7, he's up to 13th and still trying to maintain that top 10 pace.
And for second place, here comes Jordan Martin. He has got ahead of Steam Finian, waiting around for nobody. And Springer, I don't know if he overheated his tires trying to go for that lead, but it's hurting him a little bit. Drops to the inside. Here comes Brendan, 6-3 wide for third place.
Trying to make some aggressive moves early on. Ooh, he's going to get squeezed. Okreza gets pinched by DeLeo and 6. They get out unscathed, relatively unscathed, I should say, and they all sort themselves out now. But we're really starting to see these guys get elbows out. And Jacob Bell and Jerry Miller, not Jerry Miller, sorry, Jake Nichols commenting a bit of a whoa when that happened right in front of them.
We have not seen the field separate at all, Hunter. They are still on top of each other, and this is so critical to not make any mistakes because there's so many cars here. If you make a mistake, you're taking out a handful with you.
It's like we're still on the 550 horsepower package, but now this is just the next gen going to work, and riding again in car with Connor Horn up in the 9th position. Had Jacob Bell all over him. Now he's got the Season 3 and Season 2 champ, back-to-back champ, right behind him, Jake Nichols. And then Doug Newbegin right in front of him, getting loose and going down low. Connor, he thought about making it 3 wide, going to back out of it.
Discretion is the better part of valor there. We saw him hit the brakes, Finn, and he did not feel good about going into that while they were 3 wide. And I think that was a smart call, but it is going to leave him vulnerable now to the 73.
And now he's trying to look to the inside here of the 71. I thought he was going to look to the outside. I think figured it was better try to see if he can get past Jacob Bell. Now Jake Nichols, speaking of that 73, he's going to take the chance to go to the outside. But this entire little group here of Jacob Bell, Connor Horn, Jake Nichols, Jeremy Miller, they've been all working the way up the order. They're all +8, +9, +11 positions, moving up slowly but surely.
Yeah, very, very intriguing watching this battles occur within the pack. Jacob Bell still side by side with Doug Newbegin for the 8th spot. Connor Horn, Jake Nichols swapping the 10th position. And Jordan Martin still has his eyes set on the leader, Nate Trito.
Whoa, Ricky Springer getting tight off of turn 2. Touches the door of the 22 and causes a checkup. Whoa, and a big move. Douglas Newbegin going down below the apron trying to make a move. 3 wide into turn 3. 6 and Okreza getting close together.
This is physical hands-on racing right now here at Charlotte. There's still 3 wide. Connor Horn seeing all of it out the right front A-pillar here, and they're still bouncing off each other.
They're still bouncing off each other into turn 1. I'm amazed they haven't wrecked yet with how much they're touching one another. There's a lot of trust between these drivers to not wreck each other, and they somehow make it through unscathed, though I think Douglas Newbegin is going to try again to the inside of the 66. Jacob Bell trying to find somewhere to go, but there's no room to go.
Love watching this onboard shot of Connor.
These guys that, I was say, someone's got to tell these guys that Daytona was last week. This is Charlotte. They're racing like it's a super speedway.
In many ways, this is racier than last week, Finian. I mean, we've seen drivers already slicing and dicing. I mean, we're only 23 laps into this thing. There's 117-odd laps to go, but nobody told these guys that.
Yeah, well, I'm curious if Eric Weiland's been hearing things from jumping the race channels. He's back in the booth. Eric, any word from the drivers out on the track? It's getting pretty racy out there from our point of view.
Oh, Finian, I am hearing so many things on the scanner here on pit road. You guys were talking about Connor Horn. Well, his 609 Motorsports teammate, Skylar Shackelford, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he was involved some way in the first caution of the night. This is his comment on his car after getting through that wreck and the damage he incurred.
Way tighter than before.
So there were a lot of 4-letter words in there that I cut out. He was not very happy on the radio with how tight his car is in that number 88. He's way down the order there in, I believe, 38th place. Meanwhile, this is radio from Solid Rock Performance. There's a couple things to unpack here, guys. I want you to listen in to what Connor talks to Ricky about toward the end. That is crazy to me, as well as Rafe commenting on the guys using the top.
Anything on the bottom, because all they do is stack up.
Dude, these guys on the top, oh my gosh, they're going to be regretting this for not too long.
Jordan almost wrecked on the outside.
But it's the guys that ping pong back and forth.
Is blocked.
Like, there's a couple guys up here that have rolled the top and then they don't go anywhere.
You're going too fast.
So I'm not sure why that audio faded off on me. I'll have to figure that one out in the interim. But Ricky's comment there was, Connor, am I going too fast? And Connor said yes. So tire save, a big thing for these guys right now. And Ricky doing his best to hang on. But that could be a product of why he was getting tight, just going a little too hard, a little too early. They have damaged his tires a little too much. Meanwhile, you got is this Travis Beckner and the 27 of Cogswell on the top side trying to make moves?
Yeah, they're trying to go somewhere. Eric, I wanted to ask you before we send you back to pit lane. 64's in the wall out of turn 2. Are we surprised that it's not spreading out at all? It's so packed tight, and it is not dissipated. It doesn't look like it's going to.
I don't know that I'm totally surprised by this. I'm somewhat surprised because there are guys that are out here using the top, like Rafe was saying, that they have not fallen off yet. So I look at someone like Dom DeLeo there in the 22 up there in just out having right on that top 5 mark. He's really been using the middle and the top ever since the drop of the green flag on the restart.
Oh, Sakari sideways off of turn 3. Connor O'Kresick, it looks like they're going to get out of it for now, but almost a big wreck between the 14 and the 22.
Well, right on cue, as I was talking about Dom DeLeo, he's getting himself mixed into some stuff. But yeah, I'm surprised that they're carrying on the top as well as they are, as we get a Simrap Market replay right there. Wow. I don't know how they held on to that thing, but yeah, to answer your question, Kyle, I'm not totally surprised yet, but I expect here in the next, I'd say 10 laps to see it get a little more spread out. And then we're talking pit stops in about 25 from now.
So it's all happening pretty quickly here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Area Cup Series race number 2 of the season, getting pretty spicy here earlier, and there's still 3 wide back here. Look at this mess. This is battling for like 31st place. Jonathan Cogswell in that 27, the Rosa Gems coffee car. The 45 is Seiden fighting. The 27 slips up. There's Cameron Hearn in the Ford that did not get a very good or any qualifying effort, and he's just kind of been slowly working his way forward after dodging that wreck there early.
Yeah, I was going to say, these guys have been constantly side by side since the drop of the green flag. The initial one and the restart, they've just been constantly side by side. The front of the order has slowly gotten themselves sorted out, but you see there's still very much double file back here. And quite a few guys that have not made a whole lot of forward progress back here as well, including, we mentioned, the 24 left current, so still a long night ahead of him.
Lots of intense racing here throughout the pack, but not for Nate Trito. He's still cruising to a now about almost half-second lead over Jordan Martin, who's got a mirror full of Ricky Springer. And he's actually looking low to the inside. That is Springer in the 51. Going to try and take second back, but Martin going to fight back on the outside.
A good battle here for second place. 51 pushes up just a little bit. And Rafe Slate, that was Eric Wineland's dark horse, creeping into the mix. He started 8th place. He's up inside the top 5 now and looking for what would be second place. O'Kresick on a bit of a resurgence here as well. But this battle for second is about to get busier. It's now a 4-horse race for second place, and a big wobble there from O'Kresick.
Yeah, and big wobble for him as he just placed his car to the inside of the 8 of Slate, so he's going to follow his way on through. Springer and Martin was dooring each other off into turn 1, and Nick Trado is loving this because that gap's now expanded to over a second. Oh, here comes O'Kresick. He has the run.
Almost got too tight. Whoa, look in the back. That is Connor Horn trying to block the Leo from taking 6th away, but to no avail. The 22 going to slide up a bit from the bottom. Still going to have that side-by-side action off the corner, but joining the fray is Jake Nichols at 73, riding on board with him. He's been creeping his way inside the top 10. He wants a more.
Yeah, move to the high side there. Horn still got the spot. Springer hangs on to second. O'Kresick battles Martin now for third, and the 8 of Slate crossed him over. Big block there by the 14, gives the 14 a shot into turn 3. It is getting racy as it has been up here in the top 5 in the Area Cup Series. But Trito just continues to sprint away as now Connor Horn is sniffing this mix with Jake Nichols going to the inside. Big dive into 1.
Oh, I was going to say, Nichols got a great run off at turn 4. He's going to immediately go past Connor Horn. I think Horn trying to see if he can do the switch up, change up on the 73, can't quite get it done. The 8 and the 11 side by side is now they actually have to, both Nichols and Horn have to get on the brakes a little bit, so that way they can fall in line. Douglas Newbig now joining the fray, and they're doubling up again.
Creeping towards that top 5 is the 73 of Nichols. Newbigging and Horn nearly getting together, coming off of 4. That 73 still charging on the outside. He's going to look for third now, actually 4th from Jordan Martin. Him and Connor Horn are just boots goon boogieing on the outside as they're continuing to work their way inside the top 5, and we merge our way back down to pit road with an update from Eric Weiland.
Hey guys, here's some radio from not Solid Rock Performance. This is from Solar Flare Racing. Jeez, these teenagers are just too close. Listen in.
These guys, man. Do they know it's race 2 of the season?
So Jake not particularly happy with some of the guys out here. The other quote that I didn't quite catch on the recording because I heard it just as I had joined their channel was he was not happy with Connor Horn locking already this early in the season. So Jake making his way forward, but he was not happy to do so as he worked his way through these guys. So I told you guys by halfway he'd be there. We're well before halfway, and he's already there.
Yeah.
So
doing what Jake Nichols does best, Eric, that's for sure. Up to 4th place and climbing now has Ricky Springer right out the windshield and goes to the high side. He's been carrying some pretty good speed up there. Seen throttle in a little bit sooner than Springer, and he's going to carry that momentum all the way down the back straightaway. And Springer's not going to have much for him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not surprised that Connor was throwing a block on the 73 because arguably with the pace that Connor's showing, that's going to be one of his biggest rivals to fight within this race, let alone season. Season still have to see how their paces over the course of several races, but I think Connor trying to see if he can keep that 73 at bay and not let him go and drive off into the distance like we've seen with the night at Trado, as he's still expanding that break to 1.8 seconds over Connor O'Kresick.
I don't see O'Kresick holding on to that second spot for long because, as we've seen in the past, as Nichols is looking for second already.
Before you can finish your sentence.
Go on the run.
I mean, you said, I don't think he's going to hold him on for long. You weren't even done saying that, and he goes by to second. I mean, This is not a surprise, but, as far as Connor Horn throwing blocks, guys, long season, but don't give him freebies, right? You're going to have to beat him. So if you start race 2, you might make an enemy, but you're going to have to start blocking him at some point. Might as well start it in race 2.
Yeah, I've seen worse blocks. So
I mean, it is a self-policing. In NASCAR, blocking is self-policing, right? In sports car racing, if someone blocks, you're going to be yelling at the steward to have them get a penalty. But here, you just keep your foot in it and you send them into the safer barrier, and you end their day. So I think if it gets to the point where we have to start resorting to that, you're going to see that start to happen, and that's fine, right? It's an eye for an eye world out there in stock cars, and you want to throw a block, that's totally in your right to do so. Just you end up turned around backwards or upside down, you know how it happened.
Yeah, and actually, so looking down through the order, noting that Jacob Bell, he's really struggling. At one point, remember, you saw him up there battling with Jake Nichols and Connor Horn. He's dropped all the way back to 29th, 28th. You can see he's still dropping, and I think this is what we're talking about. Remember, Eric mentioned about these guys pushing hard early on, getting tight. I think for Bell, I think he pushed way too hard early on. He's just dropping like a rock now, down to 30th.
That car is loose as a goose, as some would call it, but the tire's starting to go away for 77. Like I said, we're at the point of the race now with less than 100 to go. We're starting to see those comers and goers, those that thrive on the longer run and those that thrive on the shorter run. And it seems like the 77 might thrive on the short run, but things can change. You could get a yellow here. We've already got one early on in the day, so we'll just put the wall going into 2. But looking back at it,
3 wide out of turn 2. It's the 28 all the way up against the outside wall. Garrett Grant in the middle, and to the bottom comes the 30. There's still 3 wide into turn 3, guys. That was wild there for a minute.
Yeah, and they're also 3 wide up ahead of them. There's still 3 wide up ahead of them. 22 of Dominic DeLeo in the middle, Nick Silver, and James Scioli on the bottom. Douglas Newbing was 3 wide with the 22 and the 46 off into turns 3 and 4. And they're still 3 wide.
Oh, they're going to touch again.
More contact up on the top of the corner. They're still about to door each other. DeLeo is trying to fight hard. Side draft, but they're going to lose out.
And then they're 3 wide again in the background. It just does not stop. Now they get it sorted back to 2. But
no, they're 3 wide again. Here they go. There's Delonte Ballard
wear you out.
Trying to rock. If they're wearing us out, imagine how it is in the
there they go! Crash!
It's right here! There we go!
Crash, front straightaway.
Well.
Oh, he's going to get hit
Look
again.
Out in front of the rest of the field. Oh, man, he got T-boned by Delonte Ballard.
Big crash.
Still
Oh, my
the brakes.
goodness. Big hits,
The
and
brake
the
pedal's on the
3
left.
car is absolutely destroyed. Ryan Hart's night is likely over. Wow. Well, let's get a SimRat Market replay of all that. And the easiest car I can grab to see the start of that was, I think, Garrett Grant. Let's go back and see right here. And let's slow this way down because we're going to need to catch it all here. So he's on the inside of Jeremy Miller in the number 30 here. He's got the 41 of Tyler Nichols to the outside, and I think they're just going to come together just a little bit. The 5 comes up, gets into the 30, and then they're going to pin the 41, and then all hell breaks loose from there on out, Finian.
Yeah, and there's nowhere for a lot of guys to go. Ryan Hartz and Cameron Hearn, you're going to see, you're going to pile in there. Bryce Senizak, I think, somehow made it. He somehow avoided that directly being in front of him. The 3 gets turned by the 4. Nothing much they can do with it happening right in front of them. And then Hartz takes a decent lick. And at this point, Hartz is actually not that bad of a shape here. But then he's going to get clobbered here. I wasn't even sure who came flying into him.
I think it was Ballard.
It was Delonte Ballard.
Right here. You're going to, well, there's a couple more cars we'll dodge. And then right here, that's a big hit. And then watch the 81.
Wow.
But he gets turned broadside here. Then someone tries to shoot this gap.
Jonathan Cogswell. Not even shoot the gap. He just didn't hit the brakes. He hit him square in the door.
Oh, man.
He did not stop at all.
Well, he missed a lot of wrecks last year, so I have to give
Yeah,
that
I was going
one
to say, that's the funny thing, is that he had really good wreck avoidance last season.
Well, I mean, look, he's not paying attention.
On board with the 3 of Ryan Hartz.
Yeah, literally nothing you can do. Oh man, that last contact really stings.
Hey guys, down here on pit road, everybody down for 4 tires and fuel. This is the first stop. They were almost to their fuel window. We're almost to the end of the fuel stint. So 4 tires fuel for everybody. Damage repair for quite a few, as you hear Greg Mitchell pull away in front of me here. A couple guys definitely not happy with that incident. Ryan Hart's upset with Delonte Ballard, who locked his brakes up as he was trying to stop for the incident. And then the 27 of Cogswell, that's one of those, even as a driver, I scratch my head because I don't know how that happened, but it happened for one of those. So Ryan Hart's not too happy. They just got 3 wide, and it got squeezed together right there with a couple of guys, as you saw on the replay. We're seeing it one more time there. So those guys getting the damage repair. I got who is this coming by me now? The 67 getting that's Ryan Swan getting his damage repair done, as well as Cameron Hearn. Those guys on pit road for well over a minute to get damage repair. So some guys not happy. Ryan Hart's probably done for the night. There were 4 meatball flags that came out of that incident, guys. Ryan Hart's, let's see. It was Ryan Hart's, Tyler Nichols, Dwayne Culberson, and one more who must have got it fixed because I can't find it now. So someone had a tow link that they needed to fix.
Yeah, I was just watched Connor Horn. I don't know if he pulled the live stream up or something, Finian, but had the camera out, or the phone out, and was taking a look at everything there. But a big crash on lap number 47 for Ryan Hart's and the 5 and a whole host of others. Dwayne Culberson's car also pretty well destroyed. But second caution of the night. It's going to break the race up here a little bit. Everyone comes on down for at least most of the field for the first time. This is going to kind of reset the race here, Finian, and kind of give us another maybe 50-lap run to lap 100. So imagine one stop from here, most likely.
Yeah, we'll see, and I'm sure these guys have definitely learned a lot on that first stint, just seeing how the tires played out in race conditions and how the race kind of ebbed and flowed in race conditions with the tires and how they played out, how the field got slowly separated. So a lot of learning, and then we also got 2 really strong cars near the front now. Nate Trado, in the number 9 machine, Jake Nichols in the 73. Both going to be sharing the front row here coming to this restart. That's going to be fun to watch.
Race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. Hunter, Palm Beach Pineapple sounds like my kind of jam. Or I guess hot sauce.
Well, it might go with Jim. You never know. Very interesting race we got going on. You mentioned that Solar Flare, they're running 1-2 right now with Nate Trado and Jake Nichols up front, but then you just saw Delonte Ballard and Solar Flare Racing member Dwayne Culberson get involved in that, so that's going to diminish their chances at having a strong finish as a team. But Eric said it earlier in the broadcast that Nate Trado might be really good competition for Jake Nichols. Not to diss the rest of the field, but it's just you saw how far of a lead that Nate Trito got in that early run, and now they're going to be all bunched up, and I'm wondering if the 73 is going to play nice with the 9 of Trito, or if he's just going to race them like any other driver out there.
You remember, Hunter, they are teammates, so I expect them to play nice. But I think the one downfall here is Nate might be too fast on the short run as Jake worked his way on the long run, guys. Getting ready for the restart. Just wanted to clear one thing up. A lot of guys said they burn off their right fronts. I was cutting that audio when that wreck happened to bring to you guys here in the booth. So watch for some guys to maybe be a little smarter and conserve the tires on the bottom, like the Solid Rock Performance guys here on this restart.
Thanks, Eric. Coming back to the restart now, lap number 50. As we get back to racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway, race number 2 of the season for the Area Cup Series. Nate Trito has been in command of this race the entire time. The green flag will drop once again. Lap number 50, we're back underway from America's home for racing. The 28 gets shuffled out of line on the restart. The 09 dives to the bottom, and we're back racing again in race 2. 3 wide already into turn 1, Finian.
Yeah, 3 wide already, back down to 2 wide here as Sturgill gets clear of the 28 after he got shuffled out of lane. Dwayne Culberson getting a bit close to the wall. Whoa, and the wreck in the background, Don DeLeo around. Caution back out.
Man, big hits there.
Another big one. Oh, look out. Oh, my goodness. These guys are just flying in still.
Crash
Ed
on
Robertson,
the restart,
Jacob
and
Bell.
junk once again here at Charlotte. Wow.
If there's one good thing that came out of it, it's that at least they weren't up to speed, because if they were up to speed, this would have been a way worse wreck with a lot of guys getting more damage. Going to look at a SimRep market replay once again to figure out how this occurred.
Yeah, so I think the 17 is one of the first cars I saw here. Gets loose there at the exit of the corner, gets into the 22, hooks him back right across the road, right into Travis Beckner. And then the 38 and the 2, they get kind of involved separately. The 88 is Shackelford. He is going to slam the inside wall, and then it's just chaos and pandemonium from there. Well, look at this full speed from high above. It still won't cover the entire picture.
You can see right there, gets loose, clips the 22. He goes into Beckner. Senizak involved. Seth Noel getting involved. You can see Michael Curran off to the right-hand side of the screen. He took a decent lick to the inside wall. I think Greg Mitchell. And Greg Mitchell is going to really be unfortunate because he qualified in second, remember, was back there after a spin early on, and he got a decent lick.
Oh. Man, the ferocity of this. Oh.
See the carnage unfold once more through the SimRap market replay. Coming down the pit road once again, Eric Weiland. Didn't expect you to hear from you this soon, but what are you hearing down on the pit lane?
Well, quite a few guys coming down for damage repair. That's pretty much it. I don't expect anyone to take another set of tires because we are limited on our tire sets. Only... How many were sitting in the pits tonight? 5 total, so they would have started on 1, 4 in the pits. They've taken 1 down to 3 sets, but tires are going to matter, especially if you get, a 20-lap run to finish the race. I got some audio here for you. I'm going to say we're going to enter like our Sim TV area after dark mode. If you've got little ones, make sure you plug their ears here because this is radio from Lucky Duck Motorsports. Not a single happy camper because quite a few of them were involved in this incident. Listen in.
Like that was just dumb. Nobody fucking checked up.
Yeah, I just saw somebody hooked going sideways on the straightaway.
No, it literally came off of 2, just fucking snapped.
Did you wreck?
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, shit. Well, I don't think it was only you because I did see a couple rows in front of me they wrecked as well. So.
Oh no, it was me that started it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that Lucky Duck Motorsports crew, that team is just not happy because quite a few of them were involved in that already. We also saw James Scioli be in the first incident, although he really didn't get any damage out of it. Just happened to be a victim of circumstance where he was. Cameron Hearn went barreling into that incident too. You saw that. So quite a few getting damage repair. A lot of them just got out ahead of the pace car. That's why they were passing by me as the field is coming across the front straightaway. And back to the Solar Flare Racing show up front here when they go back to the green. Guys, it's 87 to go when they take the green. I'm still expecting them one more time. It's just a matter of when they decide to make that stop.
Yeah, that was messy restart, but still a long ways to go. And this is playing right into the hands of Trito and Nichols because track position, when the racing has been as close as it has been, Finian, if you're not up front, you're in the danger zone. And right now, the 9 and the 73 are in the safest place they can be, which is right out front.
Yeah, I'm sure they're loving it right now and hoping this continues. But really, the entire top 6 is really, really strong. Obviously, we're talking about Nate Trito, Jake Nichols. Connor Kresik's been up there all day. He's been in a good spat with Ricky Springer. Connor Horan's moved his way up there, plus 14 spots for him. Brandon Six has been kind of hanging out there. He's been pretty quiet, which is kind of odd because we've seen in quite a few races in the past, Brandon Six, he's not been afraid to get his elbows out. Been relatively reserved here early on. Do you think he's maybe hiding any pace, Hunter?
I believe he's hiding a little bit of aggression, I'd say, because we've seen 2 big wrecks occur, and we just crossed the 50 lap mark of this race. So we're on lap 53. They're coming to complete that. We'll go green coming at the completion of lap 54. But yeah, I didn't expect this type of aggression early on, and I didn't expect to see this type of pack racing that we're not accustomed to seeing at Charlotte.
Yeah, I think every time we come to Charlotte, it's something a little bit different. And we've seen Finian in the past, this car kind of races like this, but we did see them spread out. We have not seen that tonight. For whatever reason, the field stays up bunched together. Even when things get wild, they end up kind of coordinating back together. And so I don't think we're done. You know, once the floodgates open in terms of these accidents and caution flags, you're bound to see, excuse me, more of those as we get further throughout the night.
Yeah, definitely. And it's weird how you mentioned it, because I think it's just with the changes iRacing's made to the draft model, you know, every now and then it's brought it, you know, and made these guys be more separated out last time we were here, and then now they've been kind of closer now, more what we saw with the later half of the Gen 6 era with the low horsepower, big wing on the back. So it's kind of similar to what we've been seeing here with the guys struggling to get separated. We'll see. I was going to say before this last restart was that, you know, we maybe see things calm down a little bit with guys trying to cool their tires out. Of course, we saw a massive wreck on the restart. We'll see what happens here for this 3rd restart of the night.
It's a very interesting restart order as we're approaching the restart zone. So the first row consists of Solar Flare Racing teammates, second row Solid Rock Performance teammates, then you got 609 Motorsports and Bowie Esports there, 5th and 6th. And then, not to count out Douglas Newbigging, and just saw him there, James Kiley. So good bit of teamwork here as we're back green.
Back underway. By the way, live timing and scoring is available, simtvbroadcasting.com. Excuse me. Tough night for my respiratory system as we get back underway here. Leaving turn number 2, Trito gets away, and Okrezik takes second away from Jake Nichols and slams the door shut here into turn 3. Remember the history these guys have. Think back to Auto Club, penultimate race of last season. They got together, and it was a messy one.
Oh, definitely was, and that's what I'm saying. Connor Okrezik showing some more aggression now. And speaking of Connor, there's another Connor riding behind him, trying to take that second place spot away from him as they both blow by the 73, who's now 3 wide between the 66 and the 51.
Riding out the bumper here of Connor Horn, they're 3 deep behind with Springer, Nichols, and 6. They're all vying for a top 5 position. It seems like the 51 of Springer are going to have a little momentum on the outside. They managed to get it down to double file, but still tight racing between he and Jake Nichols. And then right behind as well got Slate and 6, along with Newbigging, Martin, and Silver rounding out the top 10.
Very tight stuff here up at the front. Okrezik actually ran Trito down just a little bit last time by side for 6th place and for 5th as Jake Nichols tries to recover some of the spots he lost on the restart. And up on the high side of the background, I think that is that the, who is that? The 29 of Rabel. I thought it was the 2 of Mitchell, but that car is down the order back in 26th.
And speaking of Chris Rabel, he's up, as he taps the wall out of turn 4, up 23 spots up to 15th place and been moving pretty well. Same thing with Travis Beckner, up 22 spots up to 12th place.
Not to mention car in front of him, Cosman Yonoshiwu led the most laps in the area 500. Didn't get the win though, but still had a pretty solid race. He's also had a quiet night, just a few spots shy of creeping into that top 10 marker. As we head back inside the top 10, Brandon 6, Doug Newbigging 7th and 8th, but up in front of them, Rafe Slate, Jake Nichols going at it for the top 5 spot as the 8's trying to get a run on the outside with a little help from teammate Ricky Springer.
Yeah, Jake Nichols got swamped on the restart, but that doesn't mean the race pace has gone away by any stretch, so he'll get back up there. But Trito is maintaining that 0.2 of a second lead. He's going to be hard to beat. He's been up front all night long, hasn't really driven away from everyone unless it was a super long green flag run like we had previously. But in the short run pace, I think someone could beat him. It's so hard to get alongside. And the only one that was able to do that before was Ricky Springer. By the way, Ricky has dropped to 6th as he now battles Jake Nichols for that spot.
Yeah, Nichols is going to rocket by on the outside lane. Ray Slate now trying to charge in behind. Nichols trying to see if he can catch up to that 8. Actually, say that. Here comes 51 back on that inside lane as Nichols ran high off turns 1 and 2, trying to get this run on the back straightaway.
Well, don't be surprised if you see Nichols fade a few positions as Newbigging trying to enter the fray, make it a 3-car battle. Because we saw there, he crept up on the field and was passing him quick on the longer run. So 73 saving tires, in my opinion, never too soon to do that. So he's losing another spot potentially to Doug Newbigging.
Yeah, 73 going the wrong direction. The 42, though, Finney, you brought it up earlier in a different run that maybe this 42 would be a legitimate championship contender in battling that number 73. Well, here he comes. Connor Horn is coming with a vengeance for this race lead. Typically calls the area series. He'll be on comms tomorrow night and on Thursday, but right now going for the top spot.
I was going to say, but unlike you and me, he's actually good at driving.
Yep, I was going to say that
in stock cars is a really good driver, proving it right here. Going to try to rocket around the outside in the number 9 and making it look easy. He's going to get clear of the 9 of Trito, new leader, number 42.
Oh, he's going to get hit into turn 3.
Shut the door. Wow, he just shut the door on Nate Trito there. Didn't know if he's going to leave that open, but he's not taking any chances, as we've seen earlier on, and he's assumed control of the lead. Now Trito has Okrezik on his bumper, looking for the second spot, going to run single file going into the turn. Jake Nichols, on the other hand, still trying to get around the 71 of Doug Newbigging and trying to prevent him from getting around.
Yeah, Nick Trito is yelling as soon as Connor pulled that move, slamming the door shut. Nick Trito got on the comms saying, "You can't do that."
I mean, I have to look at this again. Do what? Maybe it looked different from my perspective. Let's have another look at this going down into turn 3. Well, maybe he did shut that door, but he's got the lead.
For the lead.
That would have been a pretty big send if the 9 chucked it in there. So,
yeah, I mean, again, each driver will tell you a different thing.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I've seen far worse blocks than that. So Connor Horn, your leader, will Trito, if he wants it back, he can try to take it back the hard way.
I don't think it helps that Trito and Nichols are on the same team.
Oh, no.
And they've already been chatting about him tonight. So I think there's a little bit of history with the teammates factoring into there, but definitely some drama up front. And Finney, if you know anything about Connor Horn, you know that he'll bring drama with you, and he'll play the heel. Remember that from the Outsider Racing League years ago. I'm the best there is, or something. He'll give it to you if you ask for it.
Definitely will. And notably, Connor and Jeremy Miller, his teammate 609 Motorsports, they did not make a lot of friends last week at Daytona. It seems to have spilled over into this week at Charles, at least for Connor Horn. Speaking of Jake Nichols, still trying to make his way through as he's side by side with the 51.
Yeah, still looking there. Well, moving up now, but I was looking up further in front at the 9 of Trito. Didn't know if he was going to dive his nose down below the 42 going into turn 1. Didn't do so. And speaking of aggressive, there's Travis Beckner. Where did he come from? He's been quiet for all night until now, and he's found himself inside the top 10, just riding the coattails of Jake Nichols. That's not a bad strategy there, as he looks like he wants to make it 3 wide, but doesn't have a big enough run to do so.
Well, he heard that there was aggressive driving up towards the front. He said, "Not without me, there isn't," and drove up. You see a little bit of damage. He was involved in one of those most recent accidents on the back straightaway, but certainly back and ready to party. And if you're talking about just racing and not making friends, certainly the 28 is really good at that, but he is very entertaining to watch and is joining the party here for the top 10 battle.
He's been moving up pretty well. About 10 laps ago, he was around 13th, 14th place, so he's been slowly moving up the order quite a bit. He's been stalled now because they're side by side, and he's been thinking about making it 3 wide. I think, real if anything, he's just trying to get clean air in the middle of the corner, then use this run down the straightaway to get on by. He's going to now be side by side with the 51 that Nichols is going to be clear of. So Nichols back inside the top 5, and Beckner trying to see if he can roll on past the 51 of Springer.
Not going to be enough that time by, but if he keeps it up on the outside, he might have a chance here. And now the 7th Skyali looking to merge in with this 8-car breakaway throughout the pack, as we have a little more spread out action. Still tight, but more spread out than 20-30 laps ago, as we head back down the pit road for an update from Eric Weiler.
Hey guys, I got some Solid Rock Performance is very solid for some content tonight. So I wanted to give you guys a couple things here. First, we'll cue on Ricky Springer here. And the 51 was kind enough to let me ask him a question. Here's, I'm sure you guys were noting this because you were looking at his in-sim camera earlier when he was looking to his right. Just listen in. What's it like looking to your right in VR?
Well, it depends on where I'm running. If I'm running up against the wall, a little terrifying. If I'm running on the bottom, if I look to my left and I can't see the blue line, then I know I'm close enough.
So Ricky giving some great insight right there to what it's like driving with a VR headset. That's something that I've never done, and I don't think I could ever do. Meanwhile, as you guys watch the battle for the lead here between Trado and Connor Horn, Solid Rock Performance was mentioning it as Connor drove up to Nate earlier in this run.
Horn is pushing Trito. Don't pick up your pace. Keep your pace.
Yeah, I'm just rolling, baby.
We don't need to get shuffled back in the field though. Last time, like I burned my like broadcast friendly word up last time.
So Connor O'Kresick doing me a very solid there. I don't have to bleep anything out for you guys, though we've already broken that tonight. But Nate Trado putting the pressure on Connor Horn. You see Connor is working hard there, guys.
Yeah, definitely in eternal focus here at the front of the field, trying to keep that 9 behind him. Trito almost had him locked down. Tried the high side and found some pace up there, Finian, but wasn't able to complete the pass. But this is really good stuff. You can tell just how on the limit the drivers at the front are right now. It is absolutely 110% effort to get this lead away and to hold on to it. And Travis Beckner, as we documented earlier, despite the damage on his car, running top 5 is really good. And I'm a little bit surprised, actually, that Jake Nichols fell back as far as he did and that it's taken him this long to kind of get the momentum righted and going back the right direction, Finian. I thought he would have recovered this a little sooner.
Yeah, I was going to say, he actually got passed by Beckner after they were kind of had a little skirmish for 2 or 3 laps. Beckner was able to get past about a lap or 2 ago, so Beckner has been showing some decent speed. I think Nichols probably backing off for the later part of the run. We know that he's really good at saving his equipment. Actually, as I say that now, he's going to look from the inside of the 28. He's going to have to go back on him here in turns 1 and 2, but I think he's trying to play it a little bit more patient, play the longer game.
I tried saying that earlier. Don't be surprised if the 73 continues to drop back, because the longer the run goes, the faster that 73 car gets. He just knows how to save his tires that somehow everyone else in the field cannot do. And don't be surprised in 5 to 10 laps if that 73 car is up front battling for the lead. And speaking of the lead, looking back at Connor Horn, as see the field mostly single file, some side-by-side action. And as soon as I say that, here comes O'Kresick looking to the outside. Going to try and get a run. Maybe will stay in front of his teammate Beta Slate for now, but didn't know if he was going to try to advance his position and look around the 9 of Trito.
Yeah, interesting to try way up. I think there's something to that. Been a bottom-feeding racetrack most of the night once you get into the run, but there's still momentum to have on the top side, Finian.
I think what he was trying to do here was trying to go up on top and then get that run off of turn 2, heading down the back straightaway. He's going to get a great run on the straightaway, though, but I think he's trying to see if he can keep it up there, then get a run, get some slipstream, then make a move. He's going to get a great run here onto the outside of the number 9 machine. Connor Horn is defending the inside lane now, going to go back to the top side.
Again, racing like it's a super speedway, blocking high, blocking low, because they're coming at you in both directions. And they are door to door for second. That is music to the ears of Rafe Slate and Jake Nichols as they continue to look onward. And Nate's going to look to the outside. 73 and Nichols going to flirt with the middle-ish down towards the bottom, but again, music to the ears of not only those guys, but 42 of Connor Horn starting to check out.
There's a push from the 8 to the 14, and looks like Jake Nichols is going to follow him through, and Trito goes from 2nd down to 5th in just 2 corners, and now is a teammate battling him on the outside, and Ricky Springer is going to look for the weak link here. It's the 9 by the looks of it, Finian. It's going the wrong direction.
Yeah, you have a two-team slugfest here for the top 5 spots. You got O'Kresick, Slate, and Springer with Solid Rock Performance. Then you got Nichols and Trito with Solar Flare. And then you got Connor Horn by himself, just trying to keep ahead of all 5 of these guys duking it out behind him.
They're looking to the inside. O'Kresick thought he had something there. There's Chris Rabel in the 29, still working his way towards the front. The 9 of Trito going in the wrong direction. Springer looking to the outside for the 5th spot. Beckner going to follow suit. 28 cars getting stronger and stronger as the run goes on. And then riding on board with James Skyley in the 7 car. Lucky Doug Motorsports still got 2 drivers inside the top 10. Doug Newbigin being the second one, and Brandon Sixton comfortably in the 9th position.
Well, we've seen laps tick away pretty quickly on this run. We are well past halfway at this stage. That was lap number 70. We're at lap 80 this time through. Guys, there's about a half an hour of racing left to go in this one, and it's just heating up. We still have a pit stop left to do, and I don't know who's really been the dominant car now that the 9 has slipped. Connor Horn has a lead. It's not much of one, Finian.
No, it's really not much of one. These guys have been keeping in touch pretty close together. And coming off the corner, Racing gets a great run, gives a bump to the 14s, trying to catch up to the 42. Also, I'll note some lap cars up ahead of Connor Horn. Michael Sturgill, Jonathan Cogswell, and Cameron Hearn are not too far up the road. So curious to see with lap cars interfering. Haven't seen that tonight. Could be a factor.
Well, it's looking like the pack's starting to get a little more formed as we saw, or as I saw towards the back. Cosman Yonishiwu and Nick Silver were going at it door to door. There's the Yonishiwu machine you see there on the bottom, the third car towards the back. But yeah, this second pack here, call it a pack.
Oh, slide, spin, the 7 car out of control. He saves it, but behind him, they are.
No, they're spinning.
Caution
that's a wreck, and
out,
that's a yellow.
And everybody dodges, and this time we'll get away with it. But the 11 of Jordan Martin takes a hit, and that started with the 7 first. Let's go back and catch that before we dive into the rest of it. It was a wild slide here. Was it off the bumper of the 9? Yes. And then to stack up behind him, and then the poor 11 is at the end is who gets the short end of the stick here.
Yeah, solid hit to the outside wall. Douglas Newbigin also got hit 3 different times during the course of that. There you see Rabel, there you see Bowie there in the 23 finishing him off.
Oh, the 26.
And there's Martin getting a hard hit to the outside wall.
Yep, so the 71 and then the 2 car. Oh, does he get into the 71? Maybe not. We'll have to ride on board with him to get his perspective, but that was a wild one again. Another kind of accordion-like stack-up as the field had to check up for an incident, and they just could not do it that quickly.
Hey guys, pit stops down here. Pit stops in front of me as you guys see the replay. Everybody, this is the final stop right here, most likely for all these guys. It's right on the edge of the fuel window. I expect most of them to run this to the end. I got Nate Trado getting 4 tires in front of me. Greg Mitchell, Connor Okrezik down and away. Looks like Connor may win the race off of pit road. That 14.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He beat the other Connor Horn, off of pit road. What a stop from the Solid Rock Performance group right there. The 14. Nice, clean on and off. Everybody 4 tires and fuel, and a couple getting the damage fixed back here.
Thanks, Eric. And it was a 1/10 of a second better pit stop for Okrezik versus Horn. That will trade the lead. And with that being the final pit stop, at least from a mathematical perspective, Eric, I'd expect that if we were to get another caution around lap 120, we might see drivers pit again?
Yeah. No, it's going to be... I don't know that you need to do too much tire management if we get another yellow. So these guys should still have 2 sets sitting in the pits. They've been down pit road twice of the 4 sets that were left on pit road. So 2 sets remaining. Got to use them up at this point. Look, if they'll expect it to go green, right? That's what a driver's mentality is. You'll expect this to go green. We just went green for quite a long way there. So this is everybody that's getting their damage fixed passing by me there on pit road. It's just getting out ahead of the pace car here. But I expect everyone to be in tire conservation mode, just like the start of that run was, including the Solid Rock Performance guys who started to make their way forward. But if you get that yellow with 20 to go, Kyle, 25 to go, everybody's gonna be down for a set of tires, and it's gloves come off. Everybody's all take, no give, and I expect a lot of guys to use the top. Then the top did not work out for Dom DeLeo earlier. He started sliding back, as well as Jacob Bell. He was one that said he cooked his right front off, so it won't come into play until you get that late race yellow, if we get it, Kyle. And I'm expecting these guys to all be bottom feeding and saving tire.
A lot of give and take, but we haven't seen a lot of the give tonight in general. And that most recent accident from the 9 just getting into the back of the 7 and then creating that stack up behind. I wonder if there was any dramas after that little escapade because those two are going to restart with the 9. Actually, he's buried in 24th. So he's got the EOL. And that's going to put Nate Trito way in the back here, Finian. I mean, this is the driver that led 61 laps of this race, which I don't know that anyone else is going to do. So, I mean, he's really been the dominant car. And now he's going to have to drive through and basically do what his teammate did at the start, but now with the pressure and aggression of the last half of the race.
And also significantly less laps to do it, arguably. But, yeah, no, I mean, you unfortunately can't make mistakes like that. It was a minor slip-up, but got tight, caused a wreck, and now he's going to pay the consequence of that. So, I mean, we'll see what he can do. He's clearly got a quick car, but that being said, we haven't seen how quick he is in traffic because he's been near the front of the field the entire race, so definitely interesting to see the 9 if he can try to recover from this, because otherwise, other than that, he's been having a fantastic night so far.
Well, race fans, be sure to check out shop.areairacing.com for merchandise to represent your favorite drivers and teams. Shop from our brand new selections of champion t-shirts, jackets, hats, and more. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's the shop.areairacing.com promise. Fields re-racked and restacked for this restart, and I had to guess, Eric Wineland, this won't be the last one.
I would take that bet with you, Kyle. I don't know if you guys can queue up one more replay, but I do have the audio of Nate Trado across that wreck. Just listen in real quick.
They pinched the daylights out of you, man.
There you go. There you go.
I just turned him.
And you almost got turned.
Keep on, Nate. You're good.
Go.
So that was the craziness that happened in the Solar Flare Racing group as we get ready to go back green here. Connor Horn and Connor Okrezik. It's the Connor and Connor show up front. Connor.
Well, just like the Kyle and Kyle show, we got the Connor and Connor show up front here in the Area Cup Series. Okrezik on the inside. He is the leader. Horn on the outside. He was your leader. Green flag back in the air to slip up from the 42 as he tries to get
in the back.
The 73's in it.
Involved.
Caution right back out.
Oh, man.
And the 65 is in it as well. Ben Pierce. It's got big time damage. The 46. And a stack up on the restart here, guys. Let's see.
The entire night should just be title championship implications, because we've seen a lot of guys who are potentially going to be in the title fight for this year are being involved here. We saw Ryan Hart's involved earlier. I don't think Nichols got a huge piece of this.
No, the 46 slipped, and that's what set it all off. I thought there was a checkup from...
That's a shame for Nick Silver.
Yeah. I thought it was triggered by the 42 either missing a shift or spinning the tires. But in reality, it was just the 46 of Silver just spinning the tires. It happens to everybody at least sometime, and right, he just happens to be in the middle of the pack here.
And it just so happened to be right in front of Jake Nichols. And
yeah, the big thing for Nichols is not going to be... Yeah, the big thing for Nichols is not necessarily the damage, but he's going to be set back. Currently, he's running at 29th after that spin. So he's going to have a long march forward with not too many laps left on the clock.
Yeah, certainly some dramas here in the late going. We're going to step away for a quick break. We'll be right back with the restart. Working lap number 87 of 140 in the Area Cup Series. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Area Cup Series here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Going back to watch the replay one more time here of the restart. Eric Wineland's got audio from the 46 and Nick Silver.
Hey guys, this is Brandon Bowie Esports talking what happened here on this past restart.
Ah, man, that kind of sucks.
I think I noticed when I restarted in first on the high side, everyone restarted, spun a little bit.
I mean, you weren't the only one.
I've started in first gear the whole race. I didn't feel anything like that. It was like I was on old tires. So it just caught me off guard. I'm sorry.
I say you weren't the only one, Nick, because pretty much the whole outside row fucking lit them up.
So that was Chris Rabel, Brandon Bowie, and Nick Silver all talking what happened there on the restart. Nick said he just got caught off guard with the first gear restart. He put the throttle down a little too hard, spun him up, and yeah, he ended up causing a miscue there, and that hurt my pick to win the race. Jake Nichols slides back with 50 to go. He'll restart from the 16th position.
Yeah, so some more dramas there in another caution right after the restart. We've had them in groups tonight. Travis Beckner, by the way, dropped a couple positions after that most recent pit stop, and then dodging everything on the restart, P13 for the number 28. Connor Horn dropped a spot here, Finian, to third place, but I think he'll be okay with starting on that inside of that second row rather than the outside of the front row, which did not suit that car very well.
Yeah, no, it didn't. So we'll see if that's going to do him any favors. I would think it would, because we've seen especially the guys on the top lane really struggle to get going in that second place spot. That being said, though, race latest teammates with the 14, so I imagine some communication for the restart. And also, Connor Okrezik electing to take the outside.
Well,
race late taking the inside.
Interesting pick there, perhaps, Hunter. Maybe not so much a surprise, though, with the 8 being up there as well as the 51.
I would say either way, you would have had two Solid Rock Performance drivers on the outside, but in this case, it's going to be the 14 Okrezik restarting on the outside. Now, this should be interesting because outside lane has struggled to get going all night long. Even on the initial start, they were slow to go in the restart zone. So, interesting that the leader chooses the outside lane this time by, and coming back in one final time before we go back green, Eric Wineland, another update.
Man, there's been some wacky... I don't know if we have a full moon out here tonight or anything, guys, but there's been some wacky stuff. We've had like 5 incidents under caution now. There was an incident earlier in the race with Ed Robertson that incurred a lot of damage for quite a few guys, including Cameron Hearn. And then just now, right as these guys took the 1 to green and doubled up, Michael Curhan just spawned on his own off of pit road. The bump's pretty hard on these next-gen cars here at Charlotte, especially on the apron. And I'm expecting more craziness. 50 to go, guys. It is going to be wild.
Well, we know it's been crazy. It's been crazy all night, but it's about to ramp up to an 11 out of 10 if it wasn't there already. Connor Okrezik on the outside of the front row. A teammate behind him. Green flag in the air. The 8 really slow, trying to give that 14 a good run. And here we go, back under green here from Charlotte Motor Speedway.
That's exactly what Solid Rock needed. Connor immediately making it 3 wide, going to go to the inside of the 8. Going to force Springer out of the way. He's not wasting any time dealing with his teammate shenanigans. Going to try to see if he can get the lead here.
Trying to sniff out their strategy with Brandon the 6 right behind, and the 42 going to look down low again. Didn't know if he'd have a big enough run to get beneath the leader Okrezik, but boy, some tough stuff that Okrezik has to do as we're coming across with less than 50 to go.
And now the 8 resurges on the high side. The 51 comes with. And it is a very busy racetrack here. Here comes the 7 of Scioli. He missed the corner, goes up the racetrack. Maybe that'll open the door for Yona Shiwu to climb up here into this top 6, but it is all out, side by each, down the back straightaway, 2 by 2 by 2.
Yeah, trying to see what they can do to manage and keep that 42 boxed in. He's pretty much boxed in all 4 sides at the moment. Okrezik going to the top lane, going to leave the bottom open for a second for Connor Horn. Horn's going to knows that he can poke through, and he's going to just get to the inside of the 14 by the time they get to turn 1.
Connor Horn looking low for the lead. Okrezik still on the outside, can have a run down the backstretch with the Solid Rock Performance drivers sitting there 1, 2, 3 on the outside lane. They're all 3-car tangoing almost, heading into the turn, on board with Ricky Springer, watching the action unfold right in front of them.
And right behind him, it is a busy place, like I mentioned. The 14 takes the lead away. He was the one hounding the 42 when Connor Horn had the lead, but now Ray Slate's in here mixing it up. Remember how Auto Club ended with the 14 and the 8 up towards the front. That 73 got tangled in. By the way, Jake Nichols back up to 13th place as they continue to battle side by side, and the 51 squeezes up the outside lane next to the 42.
These guys are playing with inches literally here in the going, and they're racing like we got 10 to go. We still got over 40 laps left in this race. It was the 66 and 51 make contact off and forward.
And 6 and Springer touching doors and trading paint almost for that position. And meanwhile, James, we got Travis Beckner. Yep, no surprise there. Jay Nichols just hit the back of Doug Newbaking there.
Yeah, it's getting physical. 28's trying all sorts of different lines. The 51 goes high. Everyone else goes low except for the 7, and we're 3 wide. Cedric Hunter in the middle out of turn 4. Where did he come from? We haven't really talked about him all day. Started 39th, gotten as high as 9th, and now he's up in the mix here for 14th place.
Well, very much in the mix, in the middle, 3 wide. Going to get sorted back out at 2. Bowie and the 73 of Jake Nichols still side by side, and seeing behind them Jeremy Miller. I'm not surprised that Miller's gotten back up inside the top 20. Remember, his car was junk after an earlier wreck. He's gotten that car pretty fixed up and in decent shape as he's going side by side with the 07.
Well, speaking of fixed up, where do you go to cars? Pit road, we go to Eric Weiland.
Nice transition there, though. I have escaped away from the ambient noise of pit road. So, Hunter, you mentioned that the Solid Rock Performance guys were almost 3-car tangling there. Just listen in to what they were saying right off the backstretch there.
I got them cleared anyway.
Yeah.
Rafe, big push.
Yep.
So Rafe was ready to go. He was the sandwich. He was the middle meat of the sandwich, and he said, "Sure, push me. I'm already pushing, Connor." So these guys trying to really work together. This is probably, guys, one of the best displays of teamwork I've seen in the Area Cup Series on any track that's not been a super speedway.
I was going to
This Solid Rock Performance group is just outstanding. These 3 cars up at the front.
It's actually really well choreographed right now, and they actually kind of got Connor Horn locked on the inside because they it looked like the 14 almost slowed up, but Ricky Springer dives to the inside now. The teamwork is at play, but they are still racing here now that they've got those cars 1, 2, 3. Horn back to 4th place, and they are stacking up on the inside. And here comes the 9. Remember, he was EOL'd 2 cautions ago, back up to 8th place.
I was going to say, I never found a chance to say it, but yeah, I saw him lurking inside the top 7, top 9, and now finally, as you mentioned there, is back in the hunt, trying to see if he can get his way up through. But the problem is, it's very tough to make a move at the moment. Everyone's so double fouled and close together. Connor Horn now trying to work on the outside of 51. Not sure the outside lane's necessarily going to work. We thought the outside lane might come in later in the race, but it just doesn't seem to have the grip at the moment.
And Connor Horn got shuffled out of that inside line after Springer came across his nose, and the stack-up effect happened. And now Travis Beckner was behind Jake Nichols. He is making that outside lane work, almost reminiscent of the Larson line. He's working his way back inside the top 10. Brandon Sixer, you just shut the door on Connor Horn. Horn's starting to fall back a little bit more, but it's still Solid Rock Performance 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Here comes James Skiley on the outside.
Oh, the 84 to the inside!
42 gets turned.
Oh,
he saved it. Can he hang on to it? Slides up the racetrack, and he does.
Wow.
What an incredible save. Connor Horn's night could have been over, but he somehow held on to that thing.
So could a lot of others. I mean, he definitely watched the movie Cars maybe once, twice, or 50 times, because that was insane. He just pulled off.
I mean, he just gets the 84 dives to the inside here. He gets tagged, and I thought for sure that he was going to hit that wall, but he just chucks it into the grass. What an excellent display of car control there. Well done. That could have been a multi-car accident. He's down in 28th place, though. His work's cut out for him in the next 38 laps. As we go back to the front, Okrezek, Slate, Springer, 6, all for the lead. And here comes the 51 on the outside, the 66 on the bottom.
Yeah, 66 stuck on the bottom, and Solid Rock Performance still continues to have a really solid handle and control of the front of this field. Eric, you got a word from him, especially from Connor after what just happened?
Oh, you bet I got the word from Connor. While we watch this intense racing action at the front, I'm not going to let you guys fall away from that. Just listen in to Connor Horn.
You got to go 3 wide there in the tri-oval when we're already all stacked up. He's getting that paid back if I get back to him. I don't care. That's so stupid to do with 40 laps to go. That's ridiculous. Now I got all this freaking ground to make up. All the way back at 28th, I've been top 5 all night, top 10 all night. That is so dangerous.
Connor Horn, not a happy camper, guys.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I'm just that car should have been junk, and that was amazing.
Oh yeah.
So regardless, championship hunt though, Finian, you gotta weigh your options. If you go back up there and repay it, we've seen that before. We know the penalties; they're big ones.
They are big ones, but then again, to lock yourself into the playoffs, you need to win. So after you get the win,
yeah,
you kind of get away with quite a bit in the regular season. So we'll see what Connor Horn does. He'll probably reconsider as he tries to drive through the order by the time he gets back up there.
You think he's going to get cooler by passing everybody? Oh boy, Finian.
I mean, I don't know. Well, again, he's got to consider. Does he want to throw away the chance of getting a win still, or because Cosman is up near the front, so he's going to have to get near the front to try to fight the 84. But we'll see. We'll see what he does here. We'll see what the leaders do here. Connor Kresic's trying to break away a little bit, whatever he can get. Brandon 6 is now starting to show some muscle here. We talked about the 66 not really showing a whole lot in the first half of this race, being pretty quiet now, stretching his legs, trying to fight with Ray Slate, but Slate holding strong in that outside lane.
73, Jake Nichols also starting to stretch his leg a little bit more. He's worked his way back inside the top 10 and 3 wide towards the back. Travis Bender on the outside of that. Car to the inside was making that move. Trying to see which car that is. It's all the way on the bottom. Whoever that car is, he just went all out for it. I believe that was Seth Knoll. Yeah. That was the Area 500. Yeah, he was involved in a wreck earlier on.
He was going for it for sure, as is Brandon 6 for second place. But it is getting harder and harder for these drivers to get track position here because the grip level, the track says rubbered in, is as cool as it's going to get. Everyone's driving as hard as they're going to go. The ability to get track position is also blocked by all the other cars that already have track position. It is a tough process to move forward.
It is hard to move forward, and we got Eric back in the booth with us from pit lane. Eric, any more words from any of the teams out there? Is this the action starting to heat up?
Oh, I got plenty of content for you, Finney, and if you want me to get something, just tell me right now, because I can go get something from pretty much every team in the field right now. No, so Kyle just mentioned that some of these guys were boxed in. That was something that the Bowie Esport guys were talking about. I didn't get that recording, but here is Brandon Bowie, Brandon 6, Chris Rabel, Frankie Barroso, Nick Silver, talking what they may need as they almost just got it right there with Greg Mitchell.
Feel free to wreck, guys, so I can make my car safe to drive again.
It's coming. At least I believe it's coming.
This thing is just building pressure, guys, and something has to give here soon as they go 3 wide on the backstretch with Nate Trado. Oh, what a move from Nate there. That wreck is coming. It's just a matter of when.
It's always a matter of when you get down to the end of it when it's been this fierce, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, we saw earlier.
Oh, Bowie's in the dirt on the Froley crashing. There goes Bowie.
Oh, there it is.
He's
71 and moving sideways. He's going to save it. I think Bowie saved it as well. Man, we have so many near misses. I was going to mention earlier, we saw Cosman Yonishiu and the 51 of Ricky Springer, the 51 of Ricky Springer and Chris Rabel get together off of turn 4 about a lap ago. And then this now with 2 guys on the grass and then contact again into the grass. Whew. Wow. We're flirting. We are flirting with death here.
Well, we made it again, but
they've been.
We're gonna run out of luck, Connor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was saying they've been flirting a lot up here with this side-by-side action, and look at that, Cosmo Yonoshiwu, Jake Nichols. Where did they come from? They were running outside the top 5 a few laps ago. Now they're both inside the top 5. Yonoshiwu, although not quietly making his way up towards the field after that little skirmish there with Connor.
Whoa! Ray Slade and 66 storing each other. Here comes Yonoshiwu looking again to the inside 3 wide into turn number 1.
That was dicey stuff.
Oh my!
The 84 to the bottom, and he's going to slip up the racetrack. The 8 gives him just enough space. There's still 3 abreast bouncing off each other down the backstretch.
Yeah, not quiet. Like I mentioned, not quiet. The 84's been moving up, but he's making it work. He's trying to take third away. Slate going to fight back on the outside. There's Nichols and Beckner there on the outside right behind him. Ricky Springer now fading outside the top 5, but boy, that 84 car, all aggressive, very fast.
Very quick. Those 2 things have gone together tonight, quick and aggressive. Oh, slide out of 2.
Gonna hit the eight car again. It's funny. You normally think American stock car drivers are the most aggressive. You have the one non-American in this field who's looking really aggressive right now as he's trying to look to the inside of race lane again. And speaking of aggressive, here comes Jake Nichols trying to make a move to the outside.
Same thing again. Oh man,
Whoa.
that oval dive to the inside is probably the highest risk area. Oh, there's a slip.
Ricky Springer.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness!
Springer's not happy.
He is not happy with Yodashiwu. He is not happy.
Here
with
they go.
him. He's in the wall.
No way we make it out of this.
Oh my goodness! They're 4 wide down the backstretch. Unreal Solid Rock performance. Not having it with Cosmin Yodashiwu. Again, they're a bit of revenge before Connor Horn does, but unfortunately, that wasn't a big wreck. That had potential to be quite a disaster.
He wore out his welcome up there, didn't he?
Oh yeah. He's made a lot of enemies, and he's drifting on back to one of his main enemies, slowly but surely.
Yeah, Horn's still got a ways to go.
Forced out of lane by the 51.
Horn's still got a ways to go, but this brings a little bit closer. They're in the wall again at a 2. Oh, there he goes!
It's turned by Jerry Miller as they make contact in the middle of the straightaway. Caution out.
Well,
nice 360 by Yodashiwu, but oh boy, he was in the middle of about everything that happened there.
All right, I'm gonna be smart here and not show the replay just yet because I know what happens when this happens. Oh.
I think he's gonna wait for it. I don't think he's gonna do anything at the moment.
You want to take bets on that?
Yeah,
guys,
you know,
it is.
They got penalized for doing that, so I don't think,
sure do.
I don't think that,
Who's thinking about that right now, though? I don't know if they are. Eric Wineland, what you got? It's been dramatic lately.
These guys are just absolutely going nuts out here. Here's Nate Trado talking track position and how he is not a fan of other competitors out here.
Like, there's just a never-ending cars that just roll to the top.
He was pretty heated, and I was with Jake Nichols and the Solar Flare Racing group when Cosmin had his moment. Not what we're seeing here in the replay, but that moment when he was on bottom of 3 wide going into turn 1.
Oh, Cosmin fucked up. Oh, they're hitting
trying
again.
to wreck again.
Just be careful. Be careful. It's gonna be big stacks.
And what happened 1 lap later? Cosmin, unfortunately, victim of this yellow. He will head to the back, and we'll see if they decide to give a penalty for that one. As you guys see the replay of what the audio just played that we had there, Cosmin just got into turn 1, got all crossed up. Ricky got with him, and it was on from there.
It was on from there, and as far as I can tell, no penalties coming from that one. Netcode reported as the reason. With that, pit lane is a busy place, and everybody comes on down and goes back out. Brandon 6 will lead the field off of pit lane. Okrezik, Nichols, Springer, Scioli. Connor Horn will leave pit lane in 19th place.
I think he got a penalty.
Boy.
I think Connor Horn got a penalty. He's dropping back.
Not sure on that one. I will tell you guys that, Kyle, you remember we were talking about that yellow with 25 or 20 to go? How many laps to go are there?
24.
So we were pretty on point with that one. So, yeah, everybody
almost like
wanted
we've
that
done
4
this
tires.
before, Eric. It's almost
right,
like we've done it.
For 4 seasons now here in the Area Cup Series, some of this has played out like this. I mean, Hunter remembers this. We had some fuel mileage races in Season 1, but I don't know that we've ever seen him since.
Well,
very, very rarely have we seen fuel mileage races in Season 1, but I remember Auto Club back in Season 1. That was almost a, I think it was fuel strategy because I think you stayed out or Jacob Bell stayed out.
So if anyone decides to go back and watch that, head over to the Area iRacing YouTube channel, and you can find Season 1. Auto Club was the 2nd race of the season, I think. And yours truly, as well as Cameron Hearn and Jacob Bell, we played the fuel game. We stayed out till the end, and Hunter had a legendary call of the finish as Wineland goes spinning and schwinning across the front stretch to, I think it was the first victory of the year for me, and only the 2nd race, which was pretty cool. But we had a couple fuel mileage races that year. I haven't seen him since, unfortunately, much to probably David Weisehart's delight.
Well, it's been physical tonight. It's been exciting tonight. As far as the dominant drivers, there's a list of like 8 that I would tell you are good. I don't know that since the 9 got shuffled, we've really seen dominance of any sort. I can just tell you, though, that the teammates at the front are going to be a hard duo to break up. But now Brandon 6 up front could be a kind of a wild card here.
I was going to say they're already broken up pretty much. Trying to find out where
51 and 14 are going to line up nose to tail.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So will be actually,
and the 8 all lined up.
Oh, they'll all be lined up on the outside lane.
Yeah, they've been Solid Rock Performance has been solid as a rock all night long. I mean, Ricky Springer, Kano Kresic, Rafe Slate, they've been inside the top 10 majority of the night. And
oh, sorry, I was going to say a smart move by Brandon 6 is going to elect to take the outside lane to put Kresic stuck on the bottom without any help from the guys in behind. So that was a smart decision by the 66 to break them up just a little bit, but we'll see how much that's going to stop them because they've had excellent communication. And regardless of the formation, they've been able to work together to keep all 3 of those cars near the top. That being said, though, only one of them can win the race. So I'm not sure how much longer that communication is going to last.
They can't do a 3-wide tie? Is that not possible?
All right, we've done enough imitations of the movie Cars tonight, guys. A 3-way tie I don't think I can handle.
We can get Connor to stick his tongue out.
Yeah, he already did that. Lap 6.
Rookie with the VR.
Brad Slaughter asked in the chat, has the 27 slowed down for the first crash yet? And while
brutal,
brutal,
to do Cogswell like that.
While brutal, I just give Cogswell, I would give him a little bit of strife just because he was so good at dodging all the wrecks last year. But that reminded me of those Internet Explorer jokes, you know, where like
really good.
Oh no! Well, an update for
he must have.
Go ahead, Eric.
I was gonna say an update for the Cogswell fans out there. He and JT Poole were on pit road for over a minute this last caution. I was gonna say watch JT Poole in this restart because I think he could rip the top the best, but after the damage, I don't think he can. So get ready to go back green here, Kyle.
21 laps to go in the Area Cup Series from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Well, you haven't paid a dime for the ticket, but I bet you would have paid $100. Green flag back in the air. We're going racing again. Somebody's 3 wide down there already. In the quad ovals, we hit turn 1. 6 leads the way.
Garrett Grant, and he almost gets turned by Kazuyo Yoshiwa as they were almost made contact heading off into turn 1. They sorted out for now. So back up to the race lane under the wall. Big crash on the back straightaway. Caution out immediately.
And it is an absolute
getting in it.
junkyard on the back straightaway.
Well,
Racing took a massive hit.
Goodness gracious.
Oh, that car is
yeah, look at the front of the 8.
Holy cow.
Which is, with the font in that 8, too reminiscent of 2000.
Extremely quickly.
Dale Jr. fan.
Yeah, so there he is on the high side here. He's just going to get loose in front of the 28. And then right here. Oh, man. And then he's going to get hit again. Wow, look at the 30 up on his rear wheels. And then the 8's going to get hit again. Oh, more cars pile in here. What a mess. 42 clawing his way through all
calamity. Now, you know what? I was going to say, looking back at the last caution of the last 3 races here, average of laps to go for the final caution, 19 to go, and we're definitely within that margin now.
This is just a big hit here. He's just going to get the tipped from this little bit of a loose moment, and then he just turns straight up the outside wall right here. And then pow, and then watch the 30 car come into the shot here. He's going to get up and in the air as the rest of the field piles in. What a mess that one was. And here it is again at full speed.
It's crazy to see the 30 car getting lifted up. You don't see that anymore with these cars as heavy as they are.
Well, not really. You know who this benefited a lot? Connor Horn. He would have been right in the middle of that.
But he got some damage out of that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
he would have been
He's
in it
back down
more.
pit lane.
But here's a look. Oh, yeah, right there, the 5, Garrett Grant.
That's the only damage he got. He avoided the thick of it.
Bumper goes sliding across the road.
Hey, Kyle, I guess I got a present for you guys here in the booth if you guys want to get the replay queued up of this wreck with Rafe Slate one more time.
All right, go for it.
All right, here's Rafe Slate.
Guess that I timed it well.
I'm spinning. I'm fucking wrecked. It just let fucking go.
You all right? Or are you dead?
No,
Maybe. I don't know.
His whole nose is gone.
It just let go. I was like quarter throttle and it just fucking spun.
And then they were talking about it after they got turned back around and Rafe was coming down pit road.
I didn't know they were.
So, yeah, I mean, it's loose on cold tires.
It was like dead loose. Like it hadn't felt like that all race.
Did he restart on the top?
Yeah.
And guys, what's the one difference from the beginning and the majority portion of this race to where we are right now? Anybody have an answer?
Everyone's angry at each other?
Well, not only that, I mean,
the sun's down.
Some of that may have carried over from Daytona too. No, Hunter got the answer. You win the quiz tonight. The sun is gone. And what's the track temperature? 75 degrees. The track is way gripped up, but on the cold tires, you can't generate a ton of heat until you get a couple laps underneath them, since there's not as much heat in the track to put into the tire. So it just caught Rafe Slate off guard, and unfortunately, that ends his chance at winning this race.
Well, we're going to restart with probably about 16 laps to go, and we're about an hour and 45 into this race, guys, and we're about 10 minutes from the conclusion of it. Finian, restarts have been a challenge night with those track temperatures dropping. We've seen cautions happen in clusters. So you have to go back to last week. You have to go back to what we've statistically seen, is that when we get these yellows with less than 20 laps to go, track position is your friend because you don't know when they're going to stop. And you don't want to get caught in a scenario where you don't have a chance to advance your position because you run the last 10 laps under caution. So Brandon 6, Connor Okrezik, just cling to what you got because who knows how many laps we're going to run under green for the next 17 or 16 laps.
Yeah, especially with how close everyone's been. The pack has not been able to get separated once they're on fresh tires. So we're not going to see any sort of breakaways happen. They're all going to be basically racing like a pack to the finish from here on out with so few laps to go. So I definitely agree. You're going to want to stay as high up as possible in the order and just kind of hope for the best. So for Brandon 6, the game plan is going to be getting these good restarts, nailing them, and then trying to defend as much as possible because we were joking earlier, give and take. It's been pretty much all take this entire race. It's going to be somehow even more take in these last few laps because no one's going to let up and give some space. They're all going to be going for it and using the charges, using the runs that they get.
Well, you see the in-car setup there from Ricky Springer. In this case, the VR setup. It'll be interesting now that Solid Rock Performance is down to 2 cars inside the top 5. Still solid effort from these guys, but yeah, with the way the aggression level has been rising, wouldn't surprise me if up front for the lead might get a little bit squirrely. Might see some paint being traded there between Brandon 6 and Connor Okrezik, but we'll have to see how that inside lane goes on this restart.
Well,
last year's,
go ahead.
I was one nugget for you guys. Last year's Charlotte race, or last season's Charlotte race, caution with 10 to go, restart with 6 to go, led to a green-white checkered.
Well, that's what the historic stats will tell us. Let's see what happens here and now. Green flag back in the air.
Whoa!
The 14 slides. Going to stack everybody up again. I think we got away with it, guys.
You got away with it. No, not yet. Skyly, they're going to door each other off. Okrezik spinning back into the traffic. Caution out again. And Okrezik's out.
What on earth is happening?
Is that a full moon?
Eric
Who's
already
got a
asked
voodoo
that.
doll? What?
Yeah, 14's done. He got the left rear suspension's gone.
Oh goodness!
Oh,
one by one, Solid Rock Performance is falling. Some demon got in the 14 car. I'm not sure what happened there.
So I was just getting ready to say the same thing, Hunter, but so the in-race radio report, or in-session radio, excuse me, from Connor Okrezik right there was, obviously he spun him up a little bit, but he said he got sideswiped there, and you'll see it right here on the replay that James Scioli just comes by and clips him. James obviously leaving a little bit of room on the outside for what was potentially transpiring, and from there, Connor just lost control.
Oh, big hit. Just totally strips all the body panels off it. Wild shot here. But you see the 14 on the apron here. Comes up the racetrack. Comes up. I think he kind of runs into the side of the 7. I'm not sure if he knew that the 7 didn't have more space available to him there, but what an impact. and we've seen it be pretty violent. Right there, I just don't think he knew the 7 couldn't. I mean, he probably could have moved up, but oh. And then after all this, you see it on the bottom, the 4 and the 64 come together. Right there, big checkup. 4 gets into the 3, slides down, and gets the 64 there as well.
It has not been Cameron Hearn's night. That's, I think, the
also
5th. I think it's the 5th or 6th incident that Cameron Hearn has been a part of, just because he's been a victim of circumstance and a wrong place, wrong time type of deal. And Ed Robertson, Ryan Hart's also getting together there. Yeah, it's crazy. So as I was trying to get my nugget in there, I expect a green, white checkered here to end this race, guys. It's just coming.
Yep, and we get 1 attempt in the Area Cup Series, so that means if we go into overtime, if the caution comes out before the white flag, the next flag will end the race. That's a checkered or a yellow. Now, if we are right on the edge of overtime, then we must have at least 3 laps to go. Actually, no, that's not true. If we don't actually step a lap over, we should be fine. If we get a natural 2 to go, that will not count as the green, white, checkered, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Well, we'll see. But it has been an interesting night. Let's just run down the field here just a little bit. Brandon Six has been out front for 10 laps. Ricky Springer has led 0 despite being up front a lot of the night. Jake Nichols, how has he led none in all this?
He never got up to the lead, because remember when he got near the front, his teammate Nick Trito, he led majority of the first half of this race. Actually, where is the number 9 at the moment? He is 11th. There he is. So he's led a good amount of laps today. And so Nichols, I think, has been high as 2nd place. I don't think we obviously never had got the lead.
Connor Horn has led 20.
One more nugget on Nichols. He had himself in position. Remember that restart wreck? Ian, the 46 just absolutely spun it in first gear and caused some issues. A lot of guys lost track position out of that.
It's been a wild night. Certainly a fun one to watch, and lots to digest during and after this race. It's been a fun one here at Charlotte. As far as next week, well, we're going to head to Dover, Delaware. That'll be a fun one. The 1 mile racetrack, the Monster Mile, as if this hasn't been monstrous enough. And then we go racing at one of my favorite places, Watkins Glen International on May 1st. Then Michigan, Bristol, Darlington, Pocono, Atlanta, Road America on June 26th, followed by Indianapolis, Talladega. That is your regular season. Then Chicagoland Auto Club, Vegas, Richmond, and Homestead, your 5-round playoffs. Some of the best on the NASCAR calendar there. But we start off with a super speedway, then a 1.5 miles, then a 1 mile, then a road course. About as much diversity you can get in there, other than maybe a short track, which will come around 6, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of fun tracks coming up on the beginning of this schedule, so looking forward to seeing these guys get their season underway, especially with some really strong competition. The front of this pack has been amazing. It's not been the Jake Nichols show as we've seen in the past. We've seen many comers and goers this race, a lot of strong cars able to hold toe-to-toe with the 73, so the rest of the season is going to be looking very interesting to see how the competition is going to play out, who's going to be interested, who are going to be the ones to watch all season long, because the 73 is going to have a lot to fight with.
Indeed, and we're not used to seeing Jake Nichols not dominating a race, because he's led the most laps in almost every race that he's been a part of since he's joined Area, but I feel like tonight we might see him in that closer role. It's kind of like, well, both in the sense of Kevin Harvick as the closer, where did he come from? And like the bullpen, you're down to the 9th inning, you need the closer to come out and seal the deal, win the game, and it seems like Jake Nichols is fit for that role, at least tonight. It's been like a carousel for that lead.
Maybe fit for the role. I wouldn't exactly call him Happy Harvick tonight, though, but he's begrudgingly running up there in the top 5, but it's been a tough night on the comms for Nichols and Solar Flare Racing. It's been frustrating, I think, for some of the drivers. Everyone's mad, but sometimes those make for the best.
We're not
races.
even at a short track and everyone's mad. Imagine when we actually go to a short track. We're going to Bristol, right? Bristol's the first short track of the season. Oh, everyone's going to be very angry there.
No, yeah, Dover I don't really count as a short track. It's kind of, not really. Bristol's the first real one.
I consider it. It's close to me.
All right, well, what's close to this? The end of the Area Cup Series, round number 2, 11 laps to go. Here we go. Brandon Six and Ricky Springer, your race leaders. Green flag, slip and slide on the tires, but this time better underway here up front.
Yeah, slipping with 66. They actually got a bump from the 28 of Beckner, and he went into the 51. So, throwing each other in the start. Brandon Six trying to keep the 51 from getting away with this lead as he got a great restart.
Oh, slide in the background, crash.
Below the apron, will be a caution.
And Ryan Swan involved.
Yeah,
Ryan Swan was the one who spun.
They're torn up on the apron. We stay green. Ricky Springer gets put middle 3 wide. Here comes Jake Nichols to the bottom. Springer slams the door.
Yeah, trying to make sure that 73 doesn't get to the inside lane to take the lead away. So 6 is out of lane on the top. So it's going to be Springer pretty much down to just defending that bottom lane, preventing that 73 from getting there.
Yeah, big checkup there on Nichols. You saw looking out the back of Springer as he's continuing the lead.
And 6 gets back ahead of the 73.
Wow.
The buoy machine of 6 closes that door for second. Now third up for grabs. Beckner trying to get around the outside. Going to go to no prevail. Greg Mitchell, solid run in 5th. And now Beckner looking to the outside. Nichols looking low for 2nd.
This is getting really interesting. All behind Ricky Springer. 9 laps to go this time through, and he's got the reigning champion. And some new drivers in the mix. Newbegin bounces off the wall.
Well, and drivers on the apron trying to avoid 3, almost 4 wide into turn 3.
Connor Horn's in that mix, too. Remember the 42 crash or a slide and then a penalty. He's back up to 13th
getting turned
place.
off of turn 4. Connor Horn going through the grass and is going to be able to make it hold because it's AstroTurf down there.
And his best friend's joining him right behind. Yoneshiwu is all over the bumper now of Connor Horn, but all over the bumper of Springer is the 66 of 6, and Jake Nichols still trying to sort that second position out. Whoa, big send there from the 66.
He drove it off into turn 3 with a whole lot of throttle. Nichols chases him up the hill. And Travis Beckner, where has he been? Lingering all night, giving the 66 a push. He's here when it counts. 8 laps to go, 7 this time by.
Good job to give the 66 a push to cause more chaos on that top lane, especially trying to hold up Ricky Springer. 6 though having to back off the corner hard. Beckner nowhere to really go. He's going to try to look to the inside. I think try to follow the 73 on through. No, he's just trying to wait for a lane to open up.
He might try to make it 3 wide here if the 73 slides up and gives any sort of advantage that could, not prevent, but now we see a little further back. Look at 3 wide right behind him. Oh my goodness. That's Nate Trado.
He took the opportunity as he saw the 7 and 2 get together, took them 3 wide in the quad oval, and look at this for the lead still. Nichols and 6 still battling to see which driver is going to have to run down Ricky Springer. They're going to do it both together, coming back to 5 laps to go this time through.
I think Nick Trado is getting mad. I think he thought we forgot about him, so he's trying to get back up near the front. Oh, he's got some stiff competition. Jeremy Miller trying to work around him, and Frankie Barroso, who didn't even mention at all. He's now in the thick of it. 3 wide to the inside. Connor Horn in the middle with Jacob Bell, as you mentioned, on the top.
Jacob Bell trying to make a charge in the top 10 once again. Got Barroso.
Oh, the leader's up in the wall out of turn 2.
66 in the wall. Brandon 6 in the wall. Jake Nichols going to look to take 2nd away. Travis Beckner right behind. Still trying to size up both these guys. Possibly make it 3 wide.
Ooh, contact off the fork.
They're bouncing across each other here. And Springer driving away. 4 laps to go as 6 and Nichols. Their patience is growing thin. The 28, his patience is growing thin. He sees that upper groove. He wants it, but he can't get there.
I think Beckner at this point is going to have to make it 3 wide. He really can't wait much longer. Ricky Springer's trying to eke out a little bit of a gap. If these guys keep fighting out, he's going to break away.
Going in the 3 and 4, it's still Jake Nichols and Brandon 6 trying to take 2nd away from one another, but all this is helping as Ricky Springer pull away. 3 laps to go from Charlotte.
Who uses who up first? Who will use the bumper, use the quarter panel, use the door? Because Springer is gaining 2/10 ahead. It's the largest lead he's had in a while as the rest battle behind him. And Travis Beckner, the mosquito in the ear of Jake Nichols into turn 3.
Yeah, and I was going to say, he gave the 66 of Brandon 6 a bump off into turn 1, trying to see if he can try to get some more momentum going on the 73 around the top side, because he knows that Nichols is not going to give the bottom away. Here he comes, another push. Oh, Beckner catches the wall just a little bit, but 6 is going to get clear of the 73.
66 now has 1 car to pass, and that's the leader of Ricky Springer, still charging on that outside line. They're coming to the white flag. Will they make it to the white?
Oh, they've got 2 more corners. By the way, Connor Horn's 8th and climbing right now on fresh tires to boot as they come out of turn number
Nichols.
4. Nichols up the racetrack, but clears the 66. White flag, 1 to go from Charlotte, and he's on the bumper of Springer into turn 1.
Oh, he's going to look to the top side, going to try to hold the throttle wide open. I think it's going to be key here if he can get a good run off the corner and catch the 51.
Down the backstretch for the final time, Jake Nichols. Does he have a Louisiana dive bomb in him to try and steal a win for Ricky Springer?
2 corners
3 and
left.
4 for the final time. Springer, he's got clean air in front of him. He's got no pressure behind him. Ricky Springer comes off turn 4, and he will win at Charlotte.
Oh my
And there they
gosh.
go. Big wreck in the back. 1 car flying in the air. That's Nate Trito.
Holy cow.
Crashing across the stripe.
Oh man, millions of
Wow,
dollars of
what a
race car
finish.
junked at the line.
Fireworks.
Fireworks in the air, fireworks on the racetrack, fireworks in the
Wow.
cars. Fireworks everywhere.
Guys, that was a huge crash. While Springer got it done out front by a 10th, there's the touch there that starts this. Holy cow.
Holy cow.
That was huge.
They just all go barreling in there at the very end.
Oh my goodness.
The 9 climbed the air. I don't think a single tire was on the ground when he crossed the finish line.
Into the wall and completely airborne, maybe dragging the diffuser across the stripe. And then somebody, I think it was at Seidenfeiden here, watch this impact. Slips in the grass. Pow. That was a ferocious hit. 65 in there as well, but what a mess at the stripe at the conclusion of round number 2. Here it is again as the leaders come to the stripe. Pandemonium behind them.
That was probably the biggest wreck of the entire night. We see some big wrecks tonight.
Get ready for this.
Connor Horn, man.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Something straight out of a movie. And Nate Trado in the air, like.
That is something I have never seen.
All you can do is just laugh. That's just unbelievable.
How many cars sideways and upside down at the line, too?
Early candidate for finish of the year.
I mean,
just on that alone.
We're only on race 2 of the season. This is just a Cup Series. We still have the trucks and the Pro Series left to go.
Oh my goodness. Well, all that aside, let's have a look at our race results, guys. Interesting to say the least. Here's a look. Race results from Charlotte. Ricky Springer over Nichols by a 10th. Travis Beckner, Brandon 6th, James Scioli, the rest of your top 5. Connor Horn, 6th after all that.
I was going to say, Connor Horn leading the brawl that took place in behind the top 5 after, and actually finished just a couple hundreds, almost a couple thousand of a second ahead. GT Pool finishing in the wrong direction. Then Jacob Bell, Nate Trado, Cosmin Yoneshiu rounding out your top 10.
Whew, boy. All right, 11 through 20. Jeremy Miller, Greg Mitchell, Chris Rabel, Brandon Bowie, Frankie Barroso at top 15 there, Hunter. But a lot of names we didn't really see a lot tonight in this mix, too.
Yeah, good bit of drivers that got up there at the very end and then slipped towards the back there. Chris Seinfeld, one of them. Seth Knoll was up there. A lot of guys were inside the top 10, but goodness, so much carnage happened not only in the race but on that last lap. It's just all so much to process. And here's the rest of the results as Nick Silver, boy, he had himself a good run going until that restart there. Doug Newbingy, he was also inside the top 10 a good bit of the night. Dom DeLeo, Ryan Swan, Tyler Nichols, just not the night for those guys.
Yeah, and then looking down the rest of the order here, here's some that were out. Cameron Hearn, a night to forget. Same with Delonte Ballard, Darren Mullen, Skylar Shackelford, Dwayne Culberson. Even for Ryan Hartz, just a tough night. Even Rafe Slate-Finian, good, strong run until he got caught up in a wreck there towards the end, and that did him in. Muted.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he's a little messed up.
I thought I hit unmute. I think I muted myself again. Anyway, what I was saying is that there are a lot of really strong drivers that ended up finishing near the bottom of the order, and you thought out of Daytona, maybe we can start the season off a little bit better, but some guys like Brian Hart's and Ray Slade, they're going to be having to look towards next week to try to really get a solid start to the season.
And Eric Wineland, you got audio from Ricky Springer. Let's hear it.
Oh, yeah. This is off turn 4 for Ricky Springer coming to the checkered.
Yeah, Ricky! Let's go, Ricky!
Calling on
Ricky!
Good job, Ricky.
Woo!
Better get that face cam pulled up, Eric.
It's been on the broadcast for the last 2 laps.
Hell yeah, Ricky! Yes!
Better hold him off, bud. That's the first of many.
Fuck yes, Ricky!
First of many for this team. Let's fucking go.
So, solid rock performance. Very happy. And honestly, Ricky Springer saved the day for him, Kyle, because they almost lost control of that race.
Yeah, it was a wild one, certainly. Let's talk to our third place finisher, though. They've spent a long time driving tonight. Let's talk with Travis Beckner. For the longest time tonight, Travis, you were running kind of in the top 15, top 10, but then right at the end, you're P3, battling Jake Nichols and Brandon 6, and you come out with a podium, a top 5 run. What a night. Dramatic for sure. A lot of it, though, this time was around you, not with you.
Yeah, that was a blast there at the end. I think if we would have went green all the way to the end, I think I had the fastest car long run was, and yeah, that was just crazy. A lot of racing.
It came down to the last couple laps. We had a bunch of cautions leading up. How prepared were you for a late green white checkered, and what would it take for you to get 2 spots better? You were so close, but it just seemed like everyone was at 112%, and there was just no more left to give.
If I could have got Brandon 6 clear of Nichols there, and I think I could have got around both of them and went for Springer and got him. I don't know though. Who knows? Maybe that happened in a different universe. But yeah, that was a lot of fun and everything.
Well, Travis, take a breath because we are certainly going to. Wild night, but you get the Collier Cutters Toyota Camry up in the top 5, so congratulations.
Yeah, before I go, I'd like to thank a few people and some sponsors. Of course, first off, Collier Cutters Custom Landscaping, or as they're being rebranded to Calusa Pines Landscaping now. Going to have a new paint scheme coming soon. And Celsius, I'm trying to think who all is on it. Rick's Hot Sauce. That's all I can think of right now. And also everybody over at Miller Race and Ricky Springer's team. That was a lot of fun.
Thanks, Travis. A fun night to watch. P3 for the 28 Toyota. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
And coming up just shy in this one, Jake Nichols fought hard all night long, had your teammate up there leading some laps. You were up there in the mix, but didn't lead a single lap, short by 0.2 of a second, Jake. Tonight was an absolute brawl. Take me through it.
Yeah, brawl is something. I am speechless. That was such an up and down race. I felt like I was racing on the last lap from lap 1 to 140, which typically doesn't happen, but with how much grip we had tonight, I'm not surprised. There's probably some guys driving in over their head and not really caring about what was around them early in the race. I mean, it was a lot of chaos early, but we managed to somehow drive up the second behind our teammate Nate. I think we just tried to save our tires too much tonight. Even though it was valuable, we just didn't get long enough runs to really make it worth it. And no one else was really being easy with how much grip we had, so you couldn't really give up track position. But for getting wrecked, starting 21st first off, driving to the front, falling back a little bit, getting wrecked, driving back to second, we'll take it. Great team points night. It was looking kind of not great there at the beginning. 3 of our teammates or 2 of them for points got wrecked early. And Nate and I had our ups and downs big time middle of the race there, and Solid Rock Performance was destroying. They were like first, second, third later in the race, but thankfully for us, some things might have happened for them to fall back and have some guys finish in the back, and Nate and I salvaged 2 top 10s there, and man, it was one of the craziest races I've been in forever, like in a while. I don't know if I like it. I kind of like, a little more skill involved. It's kind of just everybody's just slamming it into the corner, not really caring if someone's there or not, and you got enough grip to do it. But overall, it's still a great time driving literally 100% the whole race with these guys. Hats off to Ricky for holding us off. Brandon and Travis for a crazy battle there, lap after lap to end the race. So you like to see that. I'm sure it's a hell of a probably watch for the viewers tonight, and it's going to be a fun one to go back and watch it.
Fun to watch, Jake. P2 for tonight for the 73 Camaro. Congratulations. We'll see you next week at Dover.
Thank you. See you then.
And Ricky Springer won 3 races last season, starts the winning ways early this season at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Ricky, a hell of a race all around. It was dramatic, to say the least. In the mirror most of the time for you. You were up front all night, led 12 laps, including the last handful. I'm sure you were shaken those last couple with Nichols and Beckner banging down your rear bumper.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think I spent the last, 10 or so laps just looking out of the mirror. I mean, I'd peek out of the windshield going off into the corner, and it was straight out of the windshield. But this Chevy Camaro, this awesome gaming Chevy Camaro it was great tonight. I mean, we were running side by side, door to door. You had to protect the tires. I mean, it was a great race all around. But those last 10 laps, I'd peek out the windshield, and it was just in the mirror.
We were a championship contender last season after a trio of victories. Your first 2 victories were almost the entire season apart. So the momentum is building early here this weekend. Well, we've got Dover, we've got Watkins Glen coming up. Bristol's in there somewhere. How do you feel about the next upcoming races?
I'm going to be honest. I mean, we know from Indy Road last season, I like the road courses. That's kind of my forte. That's what I tend to go towards. So really excited for that. Bristol, not so much. We didn't do well there. I'm finally happy to get a win this early in the season. Last season was so tough, going 10 races without a win and just barely making it into the playoffs.
Well, you're going to write that playoff ticket very early here in Charlotte. Ricky, congratulations. Enjoy this one. We'll see you next week at the Monster Mile.
Absolutely. And just real quick, I just want to thank, SSR, Sunny South Raceway, SRP, the team, all the guys did great tonight. Awesome gaming. Everybody really works their butt off in this program that we got put together this year. So hopefully we can kind of continue that for the rest of the year.
Good stuff, Ricky. Thanks for chatting. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Kyle.
All right, guys, wrapping things up from Charlotte. This is a long night, up on 2.5 hours here, but what a race! I mean, I don't know that we've seen one that's that wild and that exciting in a while. Here's your results. We'll get points for you next week as things start to shake out here and it turns into real calculations rather than race finishes. But Ricky Springer establishing himself as a playoff competitor very early. Finian, Jake Nichols, and Beckner rounding out your top 3.
Yeah, Springer going to join Seth Noel as a driver locked into the playoff. This is a long night, but a very exhausting night for everyone. For us in the booth and with the drivers, constant action lap after lap. We could barely even break away from anything inside the top 10 or top 15 because there was constant battling, constant action. These guys are 2-3 wide, duking it out, beating and banging. Everyone's angry coming out of tonight, and we're heading over to Dover. I don't think they're going to be much happy there as well, but some fantastic racing from everyone involved here. And we're only at round 2.
Indeed, and my goodness, what a race it was, what a night it was, and what a finish it was. I mean, all around, I've never seen this much intensity on our track other than Daytona or Talladega. It felt like they were still at a super speedway. These guys could not get away from each other. Again, unreal stuff. And who predicted the winner? I kind of forgot. Oh, wait a minute. It was me. Never mind. I just knew that someone from Solid Rock was going to win. You saw them all night long. Rafe Slate, Connor O'Kresick. They had some misfortune there at the very end, but that was not the case for Ricky Springer. He got the job done and already locked into the postseason. Just got done race 2 of 17.
Eric, 2 drivers locked into the playoffs early here in the season. The one of Seth Noel and then the 51 of Ricky Springer. Wild race, final thoughts on this one and any dramas that'll carry over into next week?
Oh, drama is absolutely going to spill over into next week. I mean, just listening to some of the team radio, Jake Nichols, I mean, you heard it in his interview, wasn't totally happy with his competitors out there. So I expect that bad blood to continue throughout the season because the competition is just that next level up here in Season 4 compared to what it was in Season 3. 2 previous trips to Dover. Ryan Hartz was your winner Season 1 and Season 2. It was Jake Nichols. So keep an eye out. The top 2 that we think are going to be in it for the championship this year are our 2 previous winners at our next track. We'll see what they can provide at Dover next time out, Kyle. I'm absolutely looking forward to it.
The Monster Mile, Dover, Delaware up next. That's going to be a blast. Concrete Canyons Could be a fun one. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night, though, for the Area Truck Series, and then for the Area Pro Series on Thursday. Lots of racing here this week. We'll see you there. I'm Kyle Heyer with Eric Wineland, Vinny DeCuna, and Hunter Sleppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.